bumping. Get that bump.
Yeah, it's like style.
All right. Okay. Head on down. It's podcast time
Yeah.
with the Whiskey Brothers. Hey, back to the show. Welcome. You are. It went all Yoda there.
Yoda. Backwards talk.
Welcome to the show backwards. Episode 67. It's a good one tonight with our friends Matt and Sean.
Pleasure being here.
Oh, nice.
We're excited.
Yeah, buddy.
So which one is Matt and which one is Sean?
Raise your hand if you're Matt.
Matt's here, and there's a goat looking at me.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah,
Or is
Looks
he?
a little scared.
That's
sure.
the old dude.
Yeah.
That goat has a story he wants to tell me about Chance.
Talking about Ahmed over there.
Oh man,
But
Ahmed.
Doc's got his tongue.
Bro, let me
Yeah.
tell you something. You don't want to hear those
Here.
stories that goat has to talk to you about Chance.
I'm
in
petting.
this
I'm
room.
petting my goat. That
Yeah.
goat's seen some shit. I
He
bet.
has seen some shit. Oh, Ahmed.
I'm feeling pretty good. You guys had hopefully a really nice steak dinner.
Woo, that was good.
Y'all doing okay?
It was good.
Yeah.
The host tried to poison me with shellfish, though. It's
Oh,
all right.
God.
I did, give you
Right.
a fair amount of warning. It said, hey, we're having steak, shrimp, and crab,
10 pounds of red meat. No
and 10
bullshit.
pounds of red meat, half a cow. And if you wanted a salad, we had grass
You
growing.
had that out there. There's enough grass in the cow. It'd be fine.
Yeah, right? I mean, the cow is eating salad. You
Yeah.
eat the cow.
That's how it
You had a
works.
salad.
You are what you eat.
You
Yeah.
are what you eat.
Is that true, Doc?
Yeah, it's true.
If a cow eats a grass, then we shouldn't need salad.
What if you eat
Yeah,
a
it's
lot
complicated, but basically, it comes down to your source of omega 3s and omega 6s
Mm.
because we do need some polyunsaturated fatty acids.
which are omega 6s?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, we do need linoleic acid for instance. But do we eat enough meat to get that? That's up for debate. I think we do.
If you're telling me I need to eat more meat, okay.
Yeah, that's what I'm telling you.
Okay.
Yeah.
All I heard was fatty ass.
Yeah.
And I got excited.
Everyone needs more.
Everybody needs some more fatty ass. Well, welcome to the show, guys. Glad to have y'all here. Thanks for joining us. I've known you for fucking four years now.
4, 5, 6.
Something along those lines.
Seems like a lifetime.
Yeah,
Mhm.
time does go fast.
When,
Sean,
when did you and your beautiful wife get together?
20, well,
Oh,
unofficially.
you have to think about this.
No,
Yeah,
I
you
don't. I
stalled
know.
too long, man.
Unofficially at the tail end of 2018. Officially early 2019.
I thought all you had was pre-COVID and post-COVID.
Pre-COVID then. We got
Yeah.
together pre-COVID before the world turned into a psychopath.
Yeah.
So yeah, 29. So yeah, I'd say we've known you 4 years. And through that, through her father, Dave, he rest in peace.
Yes. R.I.P.
Yep, we got to know you. Oh yeah, so another thing starting out, you guys are also part of the Dead Dads Club.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Seriously?
Yeah. Once again, you're the
Wow.
asshole who still got his dad.
That's
What a-
it.
what an
Dude,
ass.
I need
We're
me
gonna
some
have to off
homies
'em.
here. Golly.
Yeah, you need to invite some people that still have fathers.
Or we can
I
just
knew
change
Chance's wife when she was in high school, actually junior high.
Yeah, didn't you say either you had a crush on her, she had a crush on you? I gotta keep my eye out for
Yeah,
that.
you better keep an eye out on me, man. No, but we used to give her dad all kinds of grief because she is a very attractive woman, and
Yeah.
her father was not an attractive man. Okay.
You know what they say, right? The ugly ones produce a beautiful one.
So the joke around the office constantly was the milkman.
Mm.
Nowadays, it would be upgraded to the Amazon. You know,
Amazon Prime.
The
guy.
Amazon Prime guy.
I might have that problem in my house. You know, the Amazon guy comes to my house like 15 times a day.
You're not seeing the packages.
Yeah, I'm not seeing the package.
Someone is, but not you.
Not me. Yeah. Somebody's unwrapping that package, and it's not me.
God, I could take that one, but go down some racial path.
Well, you
So
can
I'm
take that
just not
package.
You're not
Yeah.
racist.
Oh,
but-
that one.
I'm not racist.
there's 4 different directions of whatever we're just going
Yeah.
into.
I
right
know. I know.
now. But yeah, good old Dave. When you hear his daughter talk and the mouth on her, my wife, then you're like, yeah, this is
Yeah,
Dave's
yeah,
daughter.
it's definitely-
definitely 100% his daughter.
Yep.
What that New Jersey comes out.
No,
Nope.
not even close.
What is it?
Not even close.
Go back a little further west.
Chicago.
Chicago.
There
Either
you-
way, it all sounds Yankee to me, right?
Illinois.
That's what I tell her. I'm like, you're a damn Yankee. She's like, I'm a Hoosier from Indiana. I'm like, you're from above the Red River. You're a
Dude.
damn Yankee.
What a
Now, if you want New Jersey, Sean's your man over here.
Oh,
Really?
Oh shit! See, we already started.
Is that you? I didn't
You
hear it.
offended somebody, and it's not even 5 minutes in.
Ah.
Yeah.
How long have you been in Texas?
I don't know why there's such this misinterpretation of the accent out of the East Coast.
Dude, I hear the accent now. You say something, now I hear the
Yeah,
accent.
it's water.
water.
Yeah, what?
Give me that water.
Yeah, that's funny.
We have for Johnny B, our friend Johnny B. He's as Heath would say, his heritage is Vietnamese.
Yeah, I think
Vietnamese,
I don't know what he really.
But when he says water,
yeah,
that's how he says
remember that water.
Now I can't even say water.
That
Right, 'cause
water.
He says water.
Yeah,
But
the
he's
water.
South Carolinian, right? Like he's a
Huh.
redneck.
I believe that's
Vietnamese.
where he
He's
lives.
from the
Yeah,
low
Does he
country.
listen to us? Have you asked him if he
I
listens?
have not.
You should. We're going to have to quiz him on
Yep.
that. So tell us a little about yourselves and how you two know each other.
You know, funny enough, Matt and I met at a bar.
Oh, one of
Yeah.
those
Yeah.
nights.
Guess I
Straight bar or gay bar?
Rainbow Room? Is that the name?
I couldn't remember, man.
Rainbow Room?
It was one of them nights. But
We've all had those nights. I mean,
Hey, the pickup line I used on him is I walked up and said, "Can I push your stool in?"
Yep, that's all it took, huh?
Why do I get the sense that actually happened?
I obliged.
friends ever since. Our buddy Garrett went to a gay bar in Dallas, and his justification was, "It's got the best chicken sandwich in the whole Metroplex." I'm like, you went to a gay bar for you didn't go to the gay bar for a
Yeah.
chicken sandwich. So
See, I sort of believed it for like 30 seconds.
yeah, I didn't.
Yeah.
Not even for a second.
He
Really?
went. He went for the free drinks.
I figured you could get a lot of chicken sandwiches in a lot of places that aren't gay.
I mean, but when you're searching for the best one,
I mean, no disrespect to gay people, right? They
like I
gotta- they
said,
gotta
for
eat
30
too.
seconds, then about like second 29, I was like, no.
Wait a minute.
He went
Wait
for the
a
D.
minute.
Yep.
Yeah.
We went maybe with the chicken sandwich was a side of pickle.
Yeah. Hey, maybe that's, yeah.
Who the
Yeah,
hidden
right?
pickled chicken sandwich. You were just telling me about a place called the Hidden Pickle or something like
Sneaky
that. Right?
Pickle.
Sneaky Pickle.
Oh,
Shout
man.
out.
That's definitely a euphemism.
Yeah.
That's in New Orleans.
Yeah, New
Oh,
Orleans,
yeah.
down in the Bywater.
Dude, we could have a whole episode just talking about the food in New Orleans.
Yeah.
God, man, we could talk about that place.
I think
for an
that is
eternity.
the food capital of the U.S.
It is the food mecca of U.S. For sure. Chicago and Houston are both pretty nice too, but man, I don't know, the flavors you get in New Orleans, like all that sweat and humidity and
Oh, yeah.
body odor and salt, it just
Oh, now all of a sudden it doesn't sound good.
makes the best
Yeah,
flavor.
little of the Bourbon Street gumbo.
Yeah,
I mean, they don't call it swamp for nothing.
they don't, man. They don't. All right, so y'all met in a bar.
Yeah, we met in a bar. I
Okay.
think it was New Year's Eve. It was New Year's Eve.
The plot thickens.
The plot thickens.
Plot.
Yeah, I don't remember
Huh.
how I showed up to that bar, but he was already there with some friends, and we had a common buddy of ours in the business, a realtor friend of ours.
Yeah,
And Matt was already flipping some houses in town, and as was I. And we just hit it off. We had a common denominator, which we're both stupid. So stupid is as stupid does. It's
Amen.
So y'all were like co-flippers.
pretty much.
Yeah.
In a sense, yeah. Matt had his portfolio and I had mine, and we started. We had an opportunity to come up around the TCU area in Fort Worth, and we needed to raise some funds, so we partnered up and hit it off ever since.
TCU.
Okay.
What year was this?
2017.
Yeah,
Oh,
2017.
okay.
Yeah, 2017 is when we really started working together. I think we met in 2015.
Yeah.
Kind of.
Yeah.
You know,
Had that?
I kind of
experience,
kept tabs on him because when I met him, he had this like
Oh man,
funky
What an
ponytail
idiot.
thing, and he looked like a clown.
I had a
And,
I had a man bun, man. Nobody told me that.
Oh,
Oh,
did you have a man?
no.
Does your hair does like
Oh,
you
no.
have a frizzy hairstyle?
Fuck
Can you
no.
even
Oh.
pull a man bun
I've
out?
Dude,
got-
it was awful, man.
I've
He
got
looked
an
like a-
African American hairstyle. My hair is literally waterproof.
Yeah.
He looked like doofus.
So, in order to get it to be a man bun, I had to put the African American relaxer in it, and it went pin straight,
Yeah.
and I had it like down past my chin. Had it back because I'm.
Well, I mean, we all go through those phases.
I rode
right?
it for
Sure.
a while. It was a bad look, but nobody told me. I was
Did you give a robot a blowjob at the time?
I should have.
It's-
Some inside humor on a past episode.
Yep.
yeah.
I
Yeah.
should have.
Okay, so is it like TV flipping houses?
It can be. It
Okay.
can be. Yeah, TV is a lot of glitz and glam.
Yeah,
What
see
you don't
all,
see
all the
on-
highlights.
Yeah, what you don't see on the TV is
The
all the
frustration.
horrible shit that can go down,
Yeah, I gotcha.
and like the things that are hidden behind the walls that you don't really know.
It was a couple years ago. You
Like
sent
bodies?
me that too. You sent me a video of all the, you think when you put PEX in a house, you're done. Like
Oh,
that
yeah.
shit's there for a
Uh-huh.
lifetime, unless
Rats love that shit.
yeah, that's what
Yeah.
he sent. I'm like, oh my god.
Yeah.
Rats love PEX.
Too bad. Rats, they could do a number on your property with
Mhm.
PEX, but there's new technology now that they've embedded like some sort of wire mesh in the PEX. I forget what it's
Really?
like PEX 2.8 or something, and they embed it in there. That way the rats can't chew through it all the way. Pretty interesting.
Wow.
But it
Wow.
costs a little more, but hey, it'll save you in the long run.
Yeah.
Wouldn't that be smarter to put that wire mesh on the outside of the PEX?
I
So they
think
couldn't
it's
chew it at all.
it's
It's a
from
it's
what
a
I
sleeve.
remember. Yeah,
Oh, okay.
It's a sleeve that
Okay,
you
yeah.
put over it. They the idea though is when you're at that stage in development, you put it in the walls and then you close the walls as soon as possible so the rats can't get to it. But in some situations, you have circumstances that prevent you from doing
Yeah.
that immediately. And depending on the time of year, when we're going into the winter years, we usually get an invasion of mice and rats.
looking for warmth.
Mhm.
Looking for warmth, and that's usually when it happens. They'll come in and they'll chew on them.
Yeah.
Well, they'll make their way in anyway, even if your house is bulletproof.
Yeah, they're still coming in.
They find ways to get in. They'll
Yeah.
chew. I've seen rats chew through like 3/4 inch wood, plywood, put a perfect hole like the cartoons.
Just because they want in. They're
Want in.
seeking that warmth and that
Yeah.
shelter.
Maybe not just warmth and shelter, but even food and stuff.
Yeah.
We've had houses infested with tenants that just have no clue.
Wow.
Like,
Yeah.
like they leave the dog food open. They don't give a shit.
So
Find
I'm
their
just
way
now
in.
gathering. Y'all flip houses for a living.
We don't flip
We
them.
don't flip them anymore, really. We
Okay.
try to-
We don't flip them. We buy them. We keep them as rental properties.
They're
So-
very much
Wow.
multifaceted. So Matt, thankfully over
Wow.
the years has really been quite an advisory and counsel for me to talk to and make good decisions with money. So that's what we're gonna talk about some tonight is real estate investing, just like smart decisions with your money. Because if you're me, you can make fucking stupid decisions with your money, and
Yeah.
you need that voice. You need somebody that's disciplined, that has been through it, and that can say it's a fucking stupid decision. Don't do it. Or you're a grown man, you can make that decision and learn the hard way from your mistakes,
Mhm.
or you can listen to somebody that has the knowledge and the discipline and make good choices.
Man, that's cool. That's cool. Okay, so the grandmother question of them all, right? Is there money in real estate?
Oh, yeah. Tons of money if you know how to find it.
Real
Really?
estate's
How do
meant
you
to-
not get raped by the tax man?
Well,
You
that's
know?
you don't flip.
Yes.
That's how you don't
Okay,
get screwed by the tax
okay.
man. You don't flip.
Don't flip. Yeah,
You
flipping's
do-
great and all, but
Yeah.
man, you'll feel it on the backside when it's time to pay
Yeah.
Uncle
Capital,
Sam.
good old capital gains.
Every transaction that happens, there's a tax that's due.
HGTV really, back to HGTV, y'all brought that up a little bit ago. It's
Yeah,
really
yeah.
kind of screwed up this area of the market, okay? Because
Interesting.
everybody watches all these shows. There's flip this house, flip that
Yeah.
house. I love flipping houses and
They want to go do it.
all
Yeah.
those. They want to go do it. And what that's opened up is the wholesale market. So you got wholesalers out there marketing specifically to these first time flippers. And it's just really driven the prices up beyond a point that makes sense.
Wow.
So, but back to your question, how do you not get raped by the tax man? You don't flip. Okay.
Okay.
If you flip a house, there's a couple things with flipping a house. Everybody likes income, right?
yeah.
As soon, and everybody likes to have a job. Or,
Can't ever
Job
have
not everybody,
Yeah,
but-
yeah.
so when you're flipping a house, as soon as you're done and you sell it, you're unemployed, right?
Wow.
You're
Sure.
without income.
Yeah.
Okay. Not only are you without income, but Uncle Sam's going to take short-term capital gain out of that transaction.
Yeah.
So it hurts. It hurts.
Some
So-
people seem to get around the loophole
Yeah.
by making that their primary. Like they'll rehab it, they'll flip it, but they'll live in it for 2 years, and then you can get that boosted threshold of either 250,000 or 500,000 per couples. But if you don't live in it for 2 years, and you're absolutely subject to those capital gains.
But then you're doing one house every 2 years.
Yeah, and that's not a lot.
That's not
That's
not a
not
business.
productive.
Yeah, exactly.
That's not a viable business.
Right,
That,
yeah.
That's a viable hobby.
Yeah, it's like a mom and
Yeah,
pop.
but if you and your wife divorced, like you could each have a house and then you double your production.
An interesting theory. It's a really interesting theory.
Yeah, you could if you've got a wife with a good head on her shoulders.
Yeah.
One that doesn't hate your fucking guts after
Yeah.
you
Or
divorced.
you could get
Okay.
a divorce and be with 0 houses.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's true.
I know a guy who's got a divorce and gave his wife a free house, and it was generating income, and she fucking screwed the pooch on that one and sold it.
Mm.
She was living for free.
That's what the late great Willie. No, he's not late. Willie Nelson's still alive. So the great Willie Nelson once said, "Instead of getting married again, I'm going to find a chick I don't like and buy her a house." But I digress. Anyways, back to it. So, do you think that whole HGTV discovery, do you think they're part of the reason we have housing prices the way we do?
No.
Or do you think it's just a
No.
natural
No,
course
it's-
of appreciation and inflation in markets?
Yeah, housing prices the way they are right now is a basic supply and demand issue, right?
Yeah.
One of the problems we have with housing prices right now is regulatory. Okay, home builders are backed up; they could sell as many homes as they could build.
Yeah.
The problem is timeline to take raw dirt and develop a buildable lot. Okay, the regulatory cost of construction these days of development is about 33 to 38% of the total cost of a house. So if you really want to get affordability back in the housing market, one thing we have to do is we got to roll back some of these regulations, right? The regulations are over the top. You got net zero runoff.
Okay, so you're going to have to treat us like we're
Explain.
dummies.
Net 0.
Treat us like we're dummies.
A developer that's going to go in and put in a project in a municipal area, if it's subject to net zero runoff, basically what they have to be able to do is retain every drop of rain that falls on that property on the property. They can have
Wow.
no runoff.
Mm.
Okay, so that doesn't sound like that big
That's
of a deal,
that-
right?
I know, but it's not realistic.
Right. If we dig a big pond, it all runs
Yeah.
into the pond. Well, the pond costs money to build, but not only that, but then you have to have these very expensive hydrology studies done.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. I've seen municipalities come in and tell you you got to do a hydrology study and it's got to be 1 mile up this creek. You get it done, and then they come back like, no, we need a mile downstream too. Right.
Mm-hmm.
So
Wow.
that's why the regulatory cost of these things just snowball.
Roadblocks.
They come in and blindside you with more reg, and you can't do a damn thing about
You
it.
can't do
You're
can't
at,
do anything
you're
about
at
it.
their mercy
You're
because
at
you
their
want to get your you're spending money. You're bleeding money essentially, and you want to get your project done. So of course you're going to have to bend over and take it, for lack
Wow,
of a
that's
better
tough.
term.
So that's one
get your-
source of inflation, right?
Mhm. And I would say, what'd you say, up to 16% or up to 33%?
33 to 38%.
That's a huge chunk. just for-
Regulatory compliance cost.
That's huge. That's a third.
Well, and then
Yeah.
you're on their timeline too, which
Yeah.
grow your project big time. We've got we're in a partnership in an RV park in Boyd that we're looking to develop, and the guys brought us on because they were having tons of issues, and one of the issues was that they were trying to get this acceleration deceleration lane passed by TxDOT, and right as they started the application process, COVID happened.
Mm.
So that pushed it 2 years immediately because nobody was working and everybody was shitting themselves. And then after that 2-year span came up, they're like, well, that deceleration lane that we asked for, it's actually been extended by 1,000 feet. So you're going to have to come up with all new plans and resubmit and blah, blah, blah.
1,000 feet.
Wow.
Whatever
Yeah.
it was something like that.
So typically they're what, 800 feet?
The construction original estimated construction cost on this deceleration lane was $400,000. After we submitted all the documentation, all the engineering for TxDOT approval, they came back and said, no, we want it redone, and the price jumped to $800,000, so doubled.
Yeah.
And that's before we move any dirt. That's
Yeah,
just
engineering.
the cost to have access to the property.
Yes.
Who are they? Is that the municipality? Is that the
TxDOT.
city? That's
The state.
TxDOT.
Texas Department of
It's a
Transportation.
regulatory authority.
Right,
Yes.
regulatory. So
But
it depends on. It's going to vary depending on where you're at. If you're building in Fort Worth, you got to deal with the city. You also got to deal with the county. And there's state regulations. So when you start talking about septic systems and things of that,
Uh-huh.
it depends on the flow, the size of the system of which you have to deal with.
Wow.
So they're coming at you from every directions, multiple.
There's a
multiple
bunch of
agencies.
theys,
Yeah.
not just
Yeah.
the new pronouns everybody's going by.
Yeah, I was going to say,
a lot of they
is there,
thems.
how many thems are there?
I'm sure there's plenty.
oh man.
Yeah.
So there's the regulatory. And then I guess from our perspective, you see big fucking cash buyers come in from other states out west of here.
You could say California.
Well, north, New York.
Yeah, New York too.
Yeah.
Um,
Or over China.
yeah. Did
Yeah.
you see what Arkansas is doing? Arkansas is telling
Kicking all the Chinese out?
Chinese government-owned property in Arkansas to sell their shit.
Liquidate.
Well, I
Liquidate
believe
and get out.
the farm
Wow.
protection bill that just passed here in Texas has got some language in there about preventing foreign agencies from buying property
Farmland.
in Texas,
Okay.
farmland in Texas. I believe that was part of the bill.
That's good. I'm glad to hear that.
Could be wrong.
We'll have to Google that.
We'll find out more.
Yep.
But am I right though? I mean, is it large cash buyers that are moving in from out of state that buy shit sight unseen, and then next thing you know, your neighbor's house is valued at more, and then your house is valued more, and
Well, part of the supply problem in specifically North Texas came during COVID from institutional buyers. So you had all this hedge
Mhm.
fund money. These hedge funds were looking for solid investments. So they came in and I think institutional buyers, the last number I read, bought somewhere around 18,000 homes in North Texas.
Wow.
So these are the e-buyers.
yeah.
Big institutional funds come in and they buy up all these single family homes. And what really drove the prices up is they were paying basically ask price for these houses, and they don't really care about the return, the
Yeah.
short-term return, right? They're not investors trying to grind it out like me and Sean, right? They're not looking for a return today. They were buying on the come. They're buying on the speculation that the market's going to
I
continue
thought
on
you
this
said
trend.
buying on the come.
Buying on the come. You know, you ever
Yeah.
play
Plumb line, crabs.
You ever play
Oh, okay.
craps?
Okay. I took that in my head.
there's only one association I have with that term. So
Yeah. Yeah.
I'm not a gambler. I
Okay.
guess.
Gotcha. So
I-
they're not buying on the come.
Right.
They are
Yeah.
buying on
They
that.
are
They
buying
are
on the
buying
come.
on the
But I had
Okay.
that in the notes right here. The giant corporate trust fund, hedge fund, like BlackRock, Vanguard. These guys just come in and they can buy. They don't care.
They've got nothing but money to spend, and they
Yeah.
buy certain criteria. I mean, they usually buy 1980s or newer brick homes on slabs.
Wow.
But I mean, that's just about every house nowadays, right? Because
Sure.
nobody's building.
That's a
pier
big
and beam
portion of the
anymore.
market right now,
It's a
right?
huge piece, and that's what drove prices up.
That's what
Is
all
Yeah.
new construction is what they're buying,
Wow.
and they can pay 20 to 100 over ask because give a shit.
Yeah.
In the
Yeah.
big box builders, D.R. Horton to name one, and some of these other big national builders, what they found out is, okay, we can buy this land, we can get it entitled, we can go through the entire process, and we can start to sell lots and build houses and sell them to individuals. It takes more time, costs more money. Their margins are good, right?
Yeah.
Well, what they discovered is there's these big institutional buyers out there. They could take the same land and build what they call BFR, okay, build for rent, what BFR stands for.
Mhm.
So they build entire subdivisions and communities that they would then sell that entire community to a hedge fund, okay, or to a big institutional buyer with the intent purpose of renting. So what that did is that actually increased their margins. Okay?
Yeah. Yeah.
Because they're not having to have all these different buyers that they're dealing with for, I want this color paint, I want this carpet, I want this.
They have one.
They go in and they build. They have their designers.
Mass
They go
produce
in
them.
and they build every third unit probably looks exactly the same.
Yep.
Right.
Yep.
So they save time. Time is money.
Well, and you're selling it to a group of people who are promising a future profit as well. So it's not just a profit you turn at the time of sell, but it's 2 years of rent.
Well, the home builders are selling these to the hedge funds, and then the hedge funds are putting their management in place. They're renting them out. I don't know if they'll ever chop them up,
Wow.
or if they'll just sell them to another institutional buyer on a tighter cap.
But there
rate.
are those types of communities too that builders just build to rent. There's a lot
Yeah.
of them popping up now.
I was going to say that I feel I've got a buddy, or we all have a buddy that works for some of these builders, and he's like, "Yeah, these are communities that are built exclusively for rentals. Like none of these houses will ever be on the market for sale. They build them and they rent them."
So when those big box builders go in there and do that, ultimately what that's doing is that's removing inventory from the market.
Mhm.
Okay.
Yeah.
Otherwise, all those homes, all that space that they put the time and money and effort into getting the entitlements and doing the construction, right, could be sold to individual homeowners, but they're not. So that reduces the inventory. So there was all this competition piled on top the fact that money was the cheapest it's ever been. Right, money
Mhm.
was free.
Oh, you had
Yeah.
1% interest rates during the middle of COVID, and
Yeah.
2% easily.
Yeah, so I was
2 to
fortunate
3.
enough. I have a VA loan on my house, and when I bought it, I was like 4.5 or something, which is a great rate.
Yeah.
Um, keep an eye on things. COVID really started to kick in. Things started to shut down. The rates started dropping. So I did a refinance. I didn't do a cash out refinance. I just did a straight up refinance on my house. I've got a $400,000 mortgage.
Mhm.
Okay. 30-year fixed at 2.17%.
wow.
That's nice.
Okay. So at this point right now, if you understand some basic economics,
Yeah.
the banks are losing money.
Yeah.
Okay. On my note, I'm paying them 2.5%, all in, a little less than that. And the going rate right now is 7.5.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
they're losing 5%.
But contract signed and they're making that money elsewhere. But a $400,000 house at 7.5%, that's a $4,500 mortgage just about.
No.
I mean, what is that
Well,
at 7.5%?
escrowed, it's 2,800.
Well, he's saying at 7.5.
Oh, it's 7.5.
it's
Yeah, no, I'd
7.5%,
I'd
yeah.
have to see. So it's going to be 3 times. Yeah, it's going to be up there.
$4,500, $5,000. Yeah. That's insane. So that's, and most houses around here now, what you would call like beginner houses or, your first home, $400,000 is kind of the median price.
Oh,
Oh,
it's
yeah.
crazy.
Yeah.
I'll get you
Yeah.
a better number here. I'm going to.
Well, that's what the problem is
trusted
nowadays.
calculator.
That's why home sales are down for the first time
Yeah.
in 2 years.
They're not affordable.
I don't know if you guys have seen the recent stats in Tarrant County, but this is September was the first month that we've broken 2 months worth of inventory in 4 years.
No, I haven't seen
Which
that.
means
Wow.
that sales are declined drastically. 'Cause
Yeah.
we've-
That market has fallen
the past
because
2
of
years,
interest rates.
right. And,
Yeah.
and because nobody can afford, 2 years ago, interest rates were at 3.5, 4.5%. And that mortgage, like what Matt did, his, call it $1,000, but then you double it to 7%, 8%. You're now spending triple what you had on
Yeah.
the same amount that you purchased.
Yeah.
So a lot of people just can't swing it. Can't swing
Okay,
it.
so put yourself into the shoes of a 20-year-old.
Yeah, 20 something,
Yeah,
you're-
newly married couple.
I'd say about 25. You're thinking, oh, I'd like to own my first
Yeah.
house.
Is it like, do you buy your first house or
In-
do you just plan on renting?
In North Texas, yes. I would
Yeah.
buy
Okay.
here all day.
Okay.
In a different market, probably not. North
Wow.
Texas. So I was watching a piece today on the news, and this was news to me. So North Texas, specifically Tarrant County, with the city mainly being Fort Worth, the city within
Yeah.
Tarrant County,
Yeah.
had the number one most moves in the country. So the biggest amount of people
Man, I
moved to
believe
Fort
it.
Worth
Yeah.
this past year.
I see all those people coming.
I
Yeah.
bet.
And not slowing down. Really.
Yeah.
I mean, I know that there's been a downturn in the market, but it's not completely cold.
So that goes to say, so you don't have necessarily an economic crisis until you pass like 10 months of inventory. So we're
Right.
still well below the buffer, and it's never going to become that way here in North Texas just because we have industry moving here. We've got all this different.
If it does, it's bad times for all of us.
Right. Yeah. We're all, and Texas as a whole can survive without,
Yeah.
it can secede
Yeah.
from the U.S. and still be all right.
But I think approaching
Yeah.
Doc's question, if you're 20 something, like, okay, you need it what? Well, for an FHA, you need what, 5% down?
It depends on the situation, your income level.
Yeah.
There's zero down mortgages again in the market, so that's not a problem. But I'm gonna go against Sean right here. I would tell a 25-year-old couple that just got married. There's a lot of variables, right? Based on what they want out of their future. I would talk them
House
out of.
hack it.
I would talk them out of buying a single family home.
Oh, for sure.
Okay.
Let me go on record. This is why I love you two, because
Yeah.
you can get very diverse opinions from both of them, and they're both extremely valued.
Yeah.
So listen to what both of them have to say, and you can make your own decision.
So let's say we have very normal $55,000 incomes, for both of them. And, like they're new into an entrance career, a
Mhm.
teacher, for instance. It's like, at what point do you say, okay, you should take on home ownership? Because that's hard.
So
Yeah.
a single family primary residence is not an asset; it's a liability.
Dead
Okay.
investment.
Yeah. Okay.
It's
Wow.
and let's talk about mortgage. Okay.
Okay.
Here's a test for you guys. I want you guys to break down mortgage.
Yeah.
Where does it come from?
Well,
on, Doc.
okay. So
You mean
it's-
how is it
Yeah, it's when
what's
you
that?
break it down,
You ever-
some amortized a portion of that mortgage is going towards the payment,
principal,
paying the principal.
small
and-
portion.
Yeah, but and then you have some massive portion initially, which is just going to interest, right?
Mhm.
And then you have the escrow.
Property taxes.
Yeah, then you have the escrow on that, which the bank is figuring up and
Yeah.
saying, okay, this is your amount.
Yeah, no, you're right on there. But I want you to. I
Now he
want
said,
to say,
where'd it come from?
where does the term mortgage come from? Break down the word
Oh, the
This is
word.
interesting.
mortgage.
I don't.
I don't know.
Spell mortgage.
MORT.
MORT.
Mortgage.
So dead.
Dead.
Yeah.
Exactly. Dead.
You,
So
you carry this until you're dead.
Wow.
in other words.
mortgage means dead money.
Oh, okay.
Okay.
Wow.
Is what mortgage, if you really break the word down. So the money a young couple would take and put into a mortgage, okay, on a single family house, I would walk them away from that. Okay. Now this isn't for everybody.
Yeah.
So again, like I said, there's a lot of variables. A lot of it you have to take into account. What do they want in 5 years? What do they want in 10 years? What do they want in 20 years? And what do they want their retirement to look like? Do they want to be do they want to be wealthy? And there's different types of wealth, right? There's wealth where you've just got more money than you could spend, and there's wealth where you're very happy in your life and you get to the time to do what you want to do with your family and your friends. To me, that's real wealth.
Time's
right?
a pretty big deal.
Time. The older I get, the most valuable thing I have left is time.
But
Okay?
you're not broke.
You're
You
not
know, it's like nobody wants to be broke.
right. So a
Yeah.
25-year-old couple that comes to, and me and Sean both mentor random people we meet along the way. They find out we're in real estate and real estate's sexy. Everybody wants to be in it. And we're more than happy to walk anybody through the process. But I do this all the time. 25-year-old couple walks up to me, hey, we just got married. We want to buy our house, first house. Like, got a whole bunch of money from wedding gifts? They're like, yeah, got a down payment. Cool, man. Down payments are great.
Mhm.
You know, makes it a little bit easier.
Yeah.
But don't go buy a single family house, right? Here's what I want you to do. Let's go find you a duplex or a triplex. Okay. Again, it's not for everybody, but let's get a duplex or triplex. For a single family house, maybe you qualify for $250,000. For a triplex, you might qualify for $600,000. Is that possible? When you're going to buy an investment property, a rental property like that, okay, you get debt reduction based on the income that it's going to produce. So basically, the bank's going to look at it and say, "Oh, you're going to buy this triplex for $600,000,
but you're going to make some of that up,
right? You're going to rent 2 units out at $2,000 a month, so you're going to have $4,000 a month in income off that. If you buy right, if a young couple like that buys right, okay, it's a little tougher to do on a duplex, but on a triplex, piece of cake. If you find the right triplex, okay, young couple, they can put the minimum down, move in, live in one of the units, rent the other 2 out, and guess what? They're not living in a liability anymore. They're living in an asset, an income producing asset. They will live there for free.
Yeah.
Okay.
No mortgage.
Live there for free because their tenants are paying their mortgage. And with a property like that, you're making money on multiple different ways, right?
Wow.
You're making money on a little bit of cash flow. It's not going to be huge, but they're going to live for free. Okay. So they're going to make money on cash flow. They're going to make money on what's called equity capture. Okay. Every month when the tenants pay their rent and they pay their mortgage, a piece of that mortgage is what? You covered it earlier, Doc.
Yeah.
What's a piece of that mortgage?
Piece of that mortgage is
It's
actually
principal. That principal payment, you got to look at it like a savings account. It's a savings account that you assholes are making a deposit in for me. Thank you.
Right.
I love you.
Mhm.
Right. Every single month. And then you're making money on appreciation. Over time, that property is going to appreciate. And what I recommend to these young couples is it's not for everybody. Do it, try it. Okay. Try it for a year. If it's not for you, your option is to rent out your unit and go buy you a house. Okay.
Yeah.
After a year of seasoning,
or to sell the whole thing.
or
But, I
just
mean,
just sell the whole thing. Exactly.
Think at 25 or even 25 to 30, what if you did that routine for 5 to 8 years? You're still pretty young at 35. What you would have 10 years later is a huge equity in that building.
It's a huge leg up
Yeah.
financially.
Yeah, so
'cause
you're already ahead of the curve just because of that.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I mean, that's time, but you're all like you said. If you're unit that you're living in, that your own personal dwelling is being paid for, that's a lot of time and that's a lot of money, even though you're not seeing much cash flow in your bank, right?
Yeah, you're not seeing a lot of cash flow, but also you're not paying a mortgage now, right?
Yeah, exactly.
So you're taking your earned income and you're saving that. You should be saving it to do your next one.
Mhm.
Okay.
Wow. And so it seems daunting, right? Because and I think the portion of it that seems daunting is the renter management portion of it.
Which seems to be getting more and more atrocious with cultural shifts and societal shifts. Like I mean, you can only take it with a grain of salt what I'm saying, but I see things on social media, like there's big groups of people that want to bash, their landlords and just make it as difficult as possible. Yeah,
Well, the landlord is the man.
oh yeah,
right?
yeah, he is part of the man.
Yeah.
But I shit you not, I saw one person comment about bashing private, small individuals that own maybe one or two houses.
Mm-hmm.
But they were totally okay with, giant trust fund corporations like BlackRock owning. They're like, oh, well, BlackRock, they manage it better. They take care of it better. I'm like, you got to be freaking kidding me.
Wow.
I don't know about that. We've been in some big box management communities, and we've seen some super deferred maintenance. Like, where the fuck is the man? Where are the
well, the mom and pop stuff? I mean, your name and reputations.
I like how you put that deferred maintenance.
Yeah,
it's like it's not neglect, right?
Deferred.
It's just deferred, right? We're just not going to fix this pipe right now.
You end up with a situation like what they had in Florida. The whole freaking building
collapsed
because there was a leaky swimming pool on the second story or whatever.
A lot of people died.
A lot of people died, and a lot of red flags were thrown up for a year or two. People saying, "Hey, there's
something
this
going
needs
on."
to be addressed."
It's just we're not changing air filters this month.
Yeah, well, I'm saying those places aren't owned by individuals. They're not mom and pop condos at that point. So.
Yeah, and we try to remove ourselves. Like, we don't want to be the go-to guy whenever there's issues. So we've built some back-end stuff, tenant portals to put maintenance issues in it. But even still, just recently we were at an apartment of a family members of ours, and she lives in a big box community in the middle of Fort Worth. Her water heater had been leaking for, I don't know, I couldn't tell you how long, because it was just black mold everywhere. And I'm like, this is like what was it, like $3,000 a month apartment, and it's managed by this multinational brand, and they just refuse to come fix the thing. She's like, oh, I've put in a lot of tickets before, and you're gonna fucking die in this place, so we get the hell out of here.
Wow.
Yeah, so remarking on what you said about it being daunting, yeah, it absolutely can be, because you could have some probably nightmare tenants. I know, you put down a security deposit and you pay your monthly bills, but when they leave,
but that's small.
When they leave in a year, and
small.
There's 14 holes in the walls and flooded floors and dog shit everywhere. The security deposit's nothing.
Right.
So you have any stories about nightmare tenants? I mean, let's make this more daunting for people trying to breach it.
Okay, so first I want to get first pass on one concept. It's when you're the individual like landlord. Mm-hmm. This isn't easy on you guys, right? Y'all aren't just sitting back banking,
fat stacks,
making money. It's like, this is work, right?
It depends on every deal that's done. In the beginning, at first, yes, because there's not much knowledge unless you have somebody that could walk you through the process. But,
gotcha.
Conventional knowledge you go to reading books, right? That's where everybody goes when they first want to learn something more. They find a mentor, which might cost them money, which before YouTube, let's just say.
Yeah.
But, you go to the conventional stuff, you go to the books, you go to the library, you start reading. What does it tell you? On the rental side, you want a 1% return rate, right?
Yeah.
Which you don't make money like that.
Yeah.
You're not sitting around.
Yeah,
if you buy one house, you're on 1%. You're just sitting. You got to go to work. You got to get another job to cover everything, because one house at 1% is not going to do anything for you. But, as you start establishing and buying more things and you learn the hard way, then you understand where the real money's made in real estate.
Wow.
Well, it's a real evolution. When you first start off, it's really nerve-wracking, right? Because the gold standard for a long time for a single family home is $350 positive. Okay.
Okay.
If you could buy a house and you can make $350 a month
That's it.
after everything, right?
On a $150,000 investment.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, you're things are tight, and you sweat seeing your tenant call when you have one unit, and they're like, they call and tell you the air conditioner's broke.
Yeah.
Right?
Damn.
Well, and if you only have one unit, you don't have your team together
Right.
yet, right? You're calling Milestone Electric or one of these other places that spend a lot of money on advertising. They come out and tell you that, it's probably just a capacitor that needs to be replaced on your AC unit, but they're going to tell you need a whole new unit. It's going to cost 12 grand.
Yeah.
Okay. And you're like, 12 grand, man, that's going to take me 30. That's
3 years.
Yeah.
I'm in the red for 3 years on this house now. So that gets a lot of people out of the business early.
Right.
After you grow, you stick it out, you grind it out. Okay. Because it is a grind. This stuff doesn't happen overnight. It takes years.
It's some months you're biting your fingernails.
Oh yeah. You're like, man, I hope a tenant doesn't call.
Yeah.
But
Or you hope a tenant doesn't not pay, because then you
Yeah.
got to foot the mortgage.
exactly.
Right.
Oh,
And then go through
man.
the eviction process.
Go through the eviction process.
there's
It's not easy.
Well, it's not that bad. We've had a doozy or two.
Yeah.
Like an apartment being burned down or a unit being burned down.
Yeah.
Didn't that
yeah.
happen?
You could put a check mark on that box.
Yes.
I don't know if it was burned down. I think it was an intentional explosion on one of them. It's happened a few times.
Meth lab.
Uh,
Oh man.
Hey, I need a pour of whatever you got over there. Speaking of pour, let's have a little.
Yeah.
I like
Did
this
you
stuff,
try
man.
this,
Yeah,
Sean?
it's smooth. It's
Okay.
you don't really taste the flame.
No,
But
no. It kind of
It masks
The
the,
grows on the back end.
it
the
masks the
ghost.
tequila.
Yeah.
You didn't find it too hot?
No,
Hot?
it's good. I've been sipping on it.
Okay.
Yeah.
Good.
It's got a good flavor once you get past that
I like
initial
the
surprise.
the heat. It's nice and warm. It warms
Yeah.
you up a little bit.
Matt, you good?
Yeah. No, I had some of the Ghost. It was,
Okay.
It was
Okay.
decent.
What would you like, bro?
The one that's right there in front of you.
There's two.
Which
of
one?
them.
There's
Oh,
a-
I didn't see the little guy.
which
Yeah,
one?
let me
There's
go with the
9.
Bond and Lillard.
There
He's
you
got 3 of them that's got nipples on the bottle.
Hey, going back to your question about 25-year-old just got married, whatever.
Yeah.
Has a family, wants to get into something. What's nice about our area is there's these things called ADUs. So there's houses that have like mother-in-law suites in the backyard, like above a garage or something.
Yeah.
That's what I would recommend to somebody who wants some
Wow.
sort of,
Get them a house, but they have a rentable.
they want some
unit.
solitude. They don't want to live in an apartment complex and they want to generate some sort of income. I would say, look, that's a good option. But now even with FHA, you can buy up to 4 units. So you could stick with a duplex, triplex, or even go big and say, fuck it, I want to go 4 units
Yeah.
or nothing.
And you're really capitalizing on the FHA part.
Oh
of
yeah.
that.
Yeah.
Yeah, is there still a first time home buyers credit too that you can get? Is
Yeah.
that- okay.
Yeah.
That helps. I don't know what the amount is. Does it depend on
I think it's income based.
income? It is income based.
Yeah, I don't know what the amount. These government programs change constantly.
There is a lot of stuff to keep up with, but if
Yeah.
you've got a good lender or real estate agent, you're hopefully going to be privy to that.
There's some credits. It's all income based for the most part.
Okay.
Yeah.
I know
If
with
you're a
F-
single mom struggling with 5 kids and a one job, then there'll be some reward for you at
Why
the
there got to
end.
be a
Yeah.
single mom? Why couldn't it be a single dad,
Be
bro?
a single dad. It could be a
yeah,
single
maybe
dad
the
too.
mom's a real piece of
Hustler.
You never know.
It always goes.
I mean,
it always
it's
goes.
always
to
a
the
dad that's the bad
Yeah, I
guy.
know.
Would you ever say to young people like, "Fuck it, don't do it"?
No,
No.
Oh wow.
I would say it's the
Okay.
best decision you could make for yourself.
Okay.
Yeah, oh yeah.
Okay.
Even with interest rates the way they are.
I wouldn't
like,
say
there's
buy a
always
brand
way.
new build. I would never say that.
Yeah.
I would
Yeah.
say look for something a little older that you could buy a little bit of equity at the purchase price. So you buy a little cheaper than what they're asking for it.
Yeah.
Yep.
Build a little bit of a cushion just in case, then rent the rest of their units out and off to the races.
And,
Okay.
And realistically, like the younger you can get into it, the better, right? Because you have even more time once you're in your 30s.
As an investor, if you buy right, interest rates don't really matter.
Okay.
Okay. I've bought stuff. I've had interest rates as high as 10%.
Mhm.
Right.
Oh shit.
Okay. Because here's the deal.
Even higher,
Investing,
12%.
investing in
Jeez.
real estate, okay, is a math problem you're trying to solve.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Either the math makes sense or it doesn't. Okay. If it makes sense, it makes sense. So it doesn't matter if the rate is 12%. Okay. If you can produce enough cash flow, income, revenue off that property to cover the mortgage, who cares? If you can do that and still put money in your pocket, here's the deal, guys. The rates aren't going to stay as high as they are for long. Okay. probably a couple years, but in the big scheme of things, it's not long. The government is addicted, okay, to stimulus. They're addicted to pushing out money.
That seems correct.
So what's unpopular with at least half the country is a direct stimulus. Okay, the government directly handing you money.
Right.
Okay, that's unpopular with at least half. The other half, they're okay with it. All right, but
if you're a normal, hardworking, everyday American and find your shits are only rated 1 star, well, let me tell you how to up your game to a 5-star shit. Autron Till's the answer for you. Feel free to skip this ad if you want, but you won't be skipping the bathroom if you do. We're just telling you how our guts cope with the abuse we hand them on a daily basis. You've heard Dr. Brown and Eric Rieger talk about 5-star shits on this show, so let's talk about Autron Till. Autron Till is created by Dr. Brown as an easy hack for a healthy gut. It's the only over-the-counter product proven to stop bloating and symptoms associated with IBS. These are all natural polyphenols and non-GMO. Anyone suffering should try the 630 plan. What is the 630 plan, you might ask? That's 6 capsules a day for 30 days. And if you're not having 5-star shits by the end of 30 days, you can get your money back. Click in the show notes and enjoy a minimum of 15% off. Or go to autrontil.com and use the keyword Whiskey Bros at checkout.
a stimulus that the government can hand out that's not direct. Can you guys think of one?
I would think.
I mean,
the first
food
time,
stamps.
yeah.
Interest
Food
rates.
stamps, interest rates, first time home buyers incentives, tax and rebates.
I mean, I
stuff like
think
that.
Obamacare, but
Yeah, great.
Obama phones,
Communism.
Phones.
yeah,
Here's ultimately what's going to happen. Okay, when it's time to stimulate the economy again, and it's time to go back into a big growth mode, the feds are going to step in and they're going to start buying mortgage bonds again. Okay,
Yeah.
that's one reason why they raised the short term rates. They're not as tied. Mortgage rates aren't as tied to the short term rate as they used to be 30 years ago, 40 years ago. What they're really more tied to is the bond market. Okay, when the government steps in and starts buying all these mortgage backed bonds again, the rates are going to fall. And the reason they're going to do this is because there's going to come the point in time when it's time to step up the stimulus, right? It's time
Yeah.
to get cash back into the economy.
right.
And they're going to do that indirectly through mortgage rates. And you're scratching your head. Chance is scratching his head right now. What do you mean?
Yeah, when you start talking about bonds, it's above my pay grade.
So what I mean is what they're going to do is they're going to lower the interest rates, and everybody they're going to go from they hit 8% last week. Okay?
So
They're back down to 7.5 now.
Yeah.
But there's young folks that you talked about earlier that are buying houses right now at 7.5, 8%. Okay.
yeah,
With no way to service that debt.
Well,
With a
that-
marginal way,
yeah.
yeah.
When
They're
it's time
just
to start-
scraping by.
when it's
Yeah.
time to start stimulating things, what's going to happen is they'll lower the rates. All the people that bought at 8% will do what? They'll be happy at 5%, right?
So they'll refi.
Yeah.
To cash out refinance at 5%. When you cash out refinance, what happens? You get a little check in your pocket
Mm.
when you go to closing,
Mm.
right? That's money that's in the economy.
Yeah.
Well, I think I read somewhere the other day, like 65 or 68% of Americans right now have a sub 4% mortgage. Okay. Because everybody
I mean, I believe it.
Everybody jumped on that.
Everybody
Everybody
cashed out.
refied.
Yeah.
Everybody cashed out, or not cashed out. Everybody refinanced.
Yeah.
Everybody refinanced. So like 60 something percent of Americans right now has got a sub 4%.
Yeah.
Okay. So we really want to stimulate the economy. So how are we going to do that? Indirectly.
We're going to do cash out refinancing. We're going to drop interest rates to half of what they are, and suddenly everybody's going to want a big cash infusion.
The guys that are locked in at 4% aren't going to cash out refinance at 3.75. But I'll tell you what, you hit 3, hell yeah,
Yeah.
they will.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that's the path back to the lower interest rates. And it's going to be based on the government's needs to stimulate the economy and do it in an indirect manner.
In a matter, so
Right.
it's just a matter of time.
So I believe in 5 to 7 years, we could plausibly see interest rates in the mid 3s again.
Okay.
So-
So we just need another pandemic. I mean,
Yeah.
just another round of Rona.
I mean, we might get it. It won't be Rona.
yeah, it'll be whatever swine flu again, or bird
Yeah.
flu, or
Mad
whatever
cow,
they fix up in those
smallpox.
Wuhan labs.
Yeah. That's a bloody path.
Or there's also I didn't know this, but I found out, like, you're talking about the mother-in-law quarters. Like, if you buy a place like that, there's a big market for long-term, what they call long-term or mid-term Airbnbs.
Yeah.
There's people that seek out. I didn't even know this was a part of Airbnb. There's people that will seek out places to stay for 30 days or more.
That's a matter of fact.
Yeah. So that's
Wow.
one way to
How much
service
does
some of
that
the
cost?
some-
Like, what is one
Depends.
of those places?
It
go
all
for?
so those fluctuate based on like the algorithms in place and the
Uh-huh.
popularity of the town and this and that during the seasons. I've got a place like that that has to abide by this rule
Mhm.
in New Orleans in the French Quarter, and we've stayed every month. We've been booked, luckily, and it just varies with what's going on in town and what the room availability is.
Yeah.
throughout
So
the town.
February is high priced.
But
Mardi Gras.
you probably
Yeah.
don't realize this, but there's a plethora of Airbnbs in Fort Worth, Dallas. People just want to come and stay here and see the cultural scene, I guess.
Yeah.
Especially if you're in Fort Worth around Cowtown and the old stockyards. That's even so people will come Airbnb places around here just to have access to that.
Oh.
So that exists. And the
long-term.
long-term thing is what surprised me, like the 30-day or more. So that would be one asset you would have to service the debt if you had a place like that. You
Yeah.
could have a long-term Airbnb. But
But there's also things that come with the Airbnb, like management and who's going to go there and turn the beds. And
Yeah.
is your oh shit, my cleaning lady's not answering the phone. Now what? My guy checks in 4 hours. You know, like
Yeah.
who's going to make the bed? You know, so there's certain
I mean,
things.
you're not going to sit back and just make money.
Right.
no,
There's always
it's gonna take
something-
You
effort.
don't.
Every
you don't
day
start
is a
from the
new day.
ground and be able to do that.
No, it's going to take
Unless you're Ukraine.
Okay, is that conspiracy corner? That's-
how many billions are we up to in the
God,
Ukraine now?
Too
Yeah.
many, 100 billion
Yeah.
or more.
Or more.
Did you see him come on TV the other day and beg for credit because nobody
Zelensky?
wants to give him
Yep.
money?
Wow.
He's like,
Yep.
well, could you just give us some credit? We'll
Credit.
get it back. to you."
Zelensky
We'll pay you
did?
back. Yeah, he did.
Oh, dude, that guy's such a snake.
Mm.
He's
I
such a,
know.
but he's got it made. Like he's figured it out.
He's raised a lot of money.
Yeah, he sure has.
I don't think it's about Zelensky at all.
What do you think it's about?
I think it's about the powers. Like, so, why did
Cue up
Ukraine?
the
You think there's
music.
a Ukrainian oligarch?
Yeah, that's, there's a whole structure behind Zelensky.
Mm-hmm. Well,
And
we'll get
he's
into
just
that
a
on
front
another-
man.
We'll get into that on
Yeah,
another
yeah,
episode.
maybe. Wow.
Let's not derail too much. But the Airbnb thing. So that's you have a little experience with that, and
Matt and I have done some Airbnb out of one of our units in the TCU area.
Okay.
We did that for about a year, and it was an interesting.
so do you think they're
Mhm.
also to blame for rising housing costs?
Not in this area.
I don't think
No.
so in any
No.
area because people places where Airbnbs are hot are not places that people are building subdivisions and normal everyday single family housing, right? Like those just aren't taking up market
Yeah.
space there.
Smaller
I wouldn't think.
neighborhoods.
Maybe one or two, but not to the point
Suburbs.
where it seems like there's a growing hostility against Airbnb from regulators,
It's
towns,
Well,
cities,
it's the
counties.
lobbyists. The hotel lobby group is pushing real hard for
yeah.
I
regulation.
cannot believe, and New York City was kind of the mecca, the starting point for this, but
yeah.
it spread all across the nation, even rural Colorado.
Yeah.
You
Oh.
have to be, if you buy a place and you want to Airbnb it, you're on a permanent waiting list per county regulations. If it's inside the town, you're per town regulations. And every place that we talk to, there's I think they issue like 100 permits.
So what is that? Is that like,
communism
yeah, is it?
That's
I mean,
that's
yeah,
the man
maybe.
telling you what you
Is it-
can and can't do with,
With
your,
your
own
own
fucking
property.
property.
Is it
and
an
it's-
anti Walmart mentality? No Walmart in my town.
No, the mentality is coming from hostile groups of people saying what you're doing is keeping me from buying a house.
Wow.
So they
Yeah, is it that, or is it the cities and stuff seeing?
well, okay, so it's also what Matt said. I mean, didn't mean to skip over that, but it's also a very hefty lobby industry for hotel corporations that the hotels lost a huge share because Airbnbs were affordable. They were easy. There was no bullshit.
Well, that was my thing. Was I was going to say, is it the cities and counties and hotels and all that seeing they're not making the money, and
they're
the-
not
the
generating
small
any
guys,
revenue
right.
on Airbnbs,
Yeah.
which is a big market
Right, so
share.
they
And they're
want
like,
in-
well, how do we get a piece of this?
Yeah.
Let's
Well,
fucking
no.
regulate it.
The
Right.
cities aren't.
Well,
Really?
if
Yeah,
you're running
that's
your
true.
Airbnb properly, you're supposed to be collecting hotel tax,
Right.
and
Mhm.
you're supposed to be paying those taxes.
That's
Now,
fine.
A,
You know,
a lot of them don't,
Sure.
I'm
but
okay with that.
but
I
you're
mean,
supposed to.
Sure.
yeah, I'm okay with paying my regulatory fees. If you're going to let me do whatever I want, I'll just roll that into the nightly cost or whatever it is.
Yeah.
But they've taken it a step further.
But
They've
and
said-
and
so-
and the question is like, was Uber a good thing? Not to compare Airbnb to Uber, or
Yeah, I think it was.
Yeah, but I think the
But it put the
taxis and everything
taxis
went through
out.
the same thing that
So what?
Airbnb is
Yeah,
going
no,
through
it-
now.
yeah,
Was
Uber-
Uber a good thing? It depends on if you spent $1 million for a
On a taxi
medallion in
coin.
New York City or not. I mean, if you did, you're probably thinking Airbnb or
Uber
Uber's
sucks.
Yeah.
It's a
Yeah.
privatized industry, and look how much more efficient and better UPS is than the post office than USPS.
Are
So is the
they?
same thing gonna
Are they?
happen with-
Yes, they
I
are.
don't know.
so is Airbnb to home buying what Uber was to commuting?
Home buying, I don't think it.
Yeah, or it's like, is Airbnb the way that normal Americans like capitalize on this market?
Like making income.
Yeah, making
Okay.
income.
Yeah, if they have additional dwellings that they can.
Yeah, I got you.
Yeah, $30,000 car is a lot
Space.
more attainable than a $400,000 house to Airbnb or $1 million house, depending on where you're.
And they got
looking.
Turo nowadays. You could Turo your car
That's
out.
pretty cool.
Yeah.
And I want to know when the last time you went car shopping. $30,000. Good luck. Good luck.
I'm trying to be
Yeah,
realistic.
his last car was not $30,000.
Yeah. The freaking upgrade on his last car might have been $30,000. Yeah, this guy.
Listen, tonight is not about my automobiles and my habits. Okay.
I have some friends that live outside of Monterey, California, and they're both school teachers. They have a small house, a modest house in California, and they told me they got a really good deal on it, and they bought it back in 2008
Uh-huh.
after the big crash, and it's I think it was like 1,100 square feet or less, and they paid $700,000 for it, and
Wow.
they got a great deal.
Wow.
So they say, but one of the things that they've recently done and completed is in California is crazy. If you guys haven't
No,
looked at
I
any,
heard that's a really sane
Mm.
place to be. Like
you have to
it's-
have water credits to build, so you can't like your own house. You can't add a bathroom. You can't add a sink. Okay, you have X number of water credits, and so a
Wow.
toilet is worth so many credits, and a sink is worth so many credits. Anyway, you can't.
So swimming pool is out.
you can't exceed these credits.
Yeah.
But
Okay.
LA will literally collect or drain rainwater and dump it right back into the ocean. But you need a credit to build a house to live in.
Well, no, you need a credit. You have to obtain a credit, a water credit, if you want to add a sink in your own house.
How do you go about getting said credits?
I don't know, but this couple I know out there, been friends with them for 30 years. They recently did a renovation at their house, and they added a suite, a rental suite to their house because they're trying to, they're both school teachers. School teachers in California make a lot more than school teachers in Texas, but it's still a struggle.
Yeah.
So they wanted to offset their mortgage, so they built a suite, and what they're doing is the midterm rental stuff. They're leasing to traveling nurses and traveling doctors and
Mhm.
military members and things of that nature. So it's really kind of helped them, and this is new to them. I think they're on their third tenant at this point.
Cool.
So they've been operating for 3 or 4 months, and they're excited. So the Airbnb thing, I don't think in this market here, I don't think it's a good thing to go out and specifically try to buy a property to Airbnb.
Sure.
Sean and I had an iconic property that was located between Colonial
Of course.
Oh,
Golf
wow.
course
Yeah.
and
Fort Worth.
and TCU.
Yeah.
Okay, we're sandwiched right in between. It was a 2-block walk to the Colonial. It's a 2-block walk to TCU. Red terracotta roof. It was a 6-unit apartment complex that we had there. 110 years old. Beautiful place. And because of the proximity to TCU, we're going to fully furnish, and we pimped it out, man. It's a 2-bedroom, 1-bath unit. We made it really, really nice. Fort Worth chic style. Looked really good. And we tried Airbnb in it for a year. And ultimately, when it was said and done, if you look back at the data over a whole year, the way the system works, there were a couple times where we got $350 a night, right?
Yeah.
But most of the time we weren't. And if you really bust out the math, again,
It didn't pan
Re-
out.
real estate's all about investing in real estate's a math problem you're trying to solve.
Yeah.
So you really look at the math. We might have made an extra 5%. Okay, because with the Airbnb, we had the advertising, we had the management fees. You got the
All
Airbnb
bills,
cut.
utility bills,
We had to pay all the utility bills.
internet.
Yeah.
All that. So it was a lot. So it was better for us just to put a long-term tenant in that unit at $1,800 a month than it was to try to get $3,000 a month through Airbnb because of the operational cost.
Wow.
That's okay.
So really, if you're thinking about Airbnb, you need to really look at the market
Yeah.
where you're at and say, okay, I can get this in a long-term
Does it make
rental.
sense? Does it
or
not make sense?
I can get this Airbnb. And some people get fixated on, I'll get $300 a night.
Yeah, you're not capturing all of that. Not even close.
Maybe in Miami.
Yeah.
But this ain't Miami.
Well, and then what's it going to cost to get into Miami? What's it going
Right.
to cost to purchase that
Right.
place?
Right.
I was really surprised. I mean, we explored it. I was really surprised to find out about like the regulatory hostility towards
Oh, man.
Airbnb, and it's still going on. It's still growing.
It's getting worse.
Yeah, it is getting worse. So the workaround right now is what they would call the medium term rental, which is a month basis. So you
Yeah.
can get by. That's not considered short term, which is what the hotel lobbyists want to be designated. They are short term rentals. They are in charge. They have control of the market, and they're doing it. You have an Airbnb in Louisiana,
New Orleans.
New Orleans.
How's that working out?
Working so far, so good.
Are they pretty friendly towards?
No, New Orleans, there's all kinds of regulations that are going on, and they're trying to revamp it all. And there's a stalemate between the residents and the Airbnb hosts.
Mhm.
There's a huge mess. But they've also, there's a lot of nepotism going on,
Yeah.
in New Orleans because
Nepotism.
nepotism. Thank you.
Isn't that like when you kiss your brother?
Yeah. That's how I understand it.
Yeah, because they're issuing licenses to basically anybody who knows the mayor and
I gotcha.
the mayor's staff. And all this
Yeah.
bullshit.
It's like Louisiana.
yeah, it's all
Here at home, we
backhand,
just call that
It's old.
the good old boy
backhand
network.
deals,
Yeah.
baby.
Not what you know, it's who you blow.
Yeah. But there's a larger point I want to make in all this, and I hope I can stay on track. Like we brought up the question because we have, we all have friends that are younger. I come from a family that's provided, and I have means that have been given to me. I have the responsibility of making good decisions with those and not fucking that up for my sake and my family's sake and future generations' sake. But if you're somebody that hasn't come from means and you're working, you're grinding, you're trying to get yourself into a house and put your family in a good situation from present tense to future tense and make good decisions. Like, I think it's important that we help or give those people all the information we can, because if you don't, the more and more those people become dependent on government help,
Yeah.
the more and more they vote themselves and the rest of us into government
But is
overbearing.
rent dependence? If you say
It
that
depends on, I
I'm
guess,
just
how
not
long
gonna
term.
dick with this like whole mortgage thing, and yeah, you are giving away a portion of your income
Yeah.
for no investment value, or at least not your own. You're giving away $1,500 a month
Mhm.
that is not going to a principal.
Well, it's not going to anything. It's just
You
burning
never,
it,
Yeah, you never see
Yeah,
that
you're
money
just
again.
burning it.
Yeah.
straight
Right.
burning it.
But there again, you're not paying $75,000 a year to the man in taxes either,
True.
right? So, not $75,000 over the course of 10 years, right?
Yeah.
It's like, well, you have to think about that too. If you have a property, you have property tax, and over the course of 10 years, that property tax has it inflated more than the price that you've given away in taxes. That's tough.
Rents have shot up over 22% this past year.
Valid. Yeah.
So, a good mortgage now, an average mortgage is about $2,500,
Which
right
is
in
crazy.
which is right in line with rents.
Yeah.
And you're pretty much paying. So what would you rather do? Throw money in the wind or secure your financial future by
Either
buying
way,
it?
the question's still there. Do you want to piss in the wind or not?
Right.
I think it really depends on the lifestyle that you want, the age you are and the lifestyle that you want.
Sure.
Okay.
Yeah.
It's easy to become house poor really quick.
Yeah.
Meaning that all your earned income is going to your basic living expense to
Sure.
to pay for your house. And, you know, ownership versus being a renter. As a renter, if your AC goes out, whose problem is it?
It's not yours.
It's not your problem, right? You're
Right.
you're still going to pay
Yeah.
$1,500 a month, right?
Yep.
Your landlord's got to fix that. Refrigerator goes out. Again, you know,
Yeah.
you're not having to come up with $800 to go get that. Your landlord does.
And maybe renting's more ideal too if you're not planning on staying in a location long, more
Yeah.
than a year or
Well,
two.
it just really, like I said, really depends on the lifestyle.
Right.
The lifestyle
Right.
you want to live. Do you want to have, you know,
Circumstantial.
do you want to build long-term wealth, or do you just want to live for now, right? And live for now and
Mhm.
travel and go and do those fun, free
Yeah.
things.
Can an argument be made for living for now?
I'm not sure what an argument is.
Argument. So we're talking like bits that make up. No, I'm joking. And can an argument be made for living for now? Because we're so engineered to think that we should be developing wealth.
Well, you know, that's, I think, one of the things that we fight on a daily basis. All Americans, everybody wants instant gratification, you know,
Yeah.
especially since, you know, again, I'm the oldest one in the room, which hurts me to say.
Yeah, but you're not. What are you, 45?
45.
Okay,
Yeah.
you're 44, 43?
Yeah. 43.
Okay,
Okay.
yeah, you're
Yeah,
not
so
really the elder.
well, no, but so Doc grew up around the same time I did, you know, but before smartphones and before
Yeah.
the constant instant gratification. Everybody wants instant gratification right now, and that's part of the problem that we're seeing with the younger generation, especially in real estate. They want to walk in and they want to be the real estate millionaire.
Yeah.
Right?
That's just not going to happen.
It's not going to happen. It's a grind.
Yeah.
You have to grind it out.
That's you're going to have to work at something.
So find a way to be patient and persistent.
And discipline.
It's also about your
Okay, yeah.
upbringing. Like,
Yeah.
how were you raised? Was your mom living on welfare and food stamps and stuff? And do you want out of that type of lifestyle?
wanna
So
break that
let me think
cycle.
of what the most financially smart decision would be is I just turn 21. You know, there's
Yeah.
there's a lot of variables that weigh into the, should I rent or should I buy?
Mm.
Do I have the cash to burn? I mean, you're going to burn it one way or another. So
Are
Do you have crippling anxiety or not?
Are you still?
Yeah.
Are you still in your 20s, Sean?
no, I'm 33.
Oh, okay. I was thinking for some reason you're perpetually like 29 to me for whatever reason. But you started a little younger.
I bought my first house when I was 21.
Did you really?
Still have it.
Okay, there you go.
Wow.
Shouldn't have sold any
So
other ones.
do y'all manage your own tenants?
Yeah, we have an online portal that manages everybody for the most part, but
Okay.
we answer the phones even though we don't want to.
Yeah, I gotcha. It's like people are going to call on New Year's. Period.
No, we've had that. Yeah.
Yeah.
Sometimes you just
Yeah.
have to answer
Christmas,
that call.
Thanksgiving.
Yeah,
Yeah.
no, they call all the time, and it's never like a convenient time. You know, they'll have a problem, and they'll have the problem all day, and they wait until 9:30 at night to call you.
Yeah.
You know,
Mm.
Yeah, I feel you.
and it's like, when did this start? Oh, it started 3 days ago. Oh, and you waited 3 days and waited to call at 9:30.
Yeah.
So
Sunday
it must
at
not be
5.
real. Must not be real important. So we'll get to it when we get to it. But we could do. That's one area we could expand upon. We could do better managing or outsource more of it.
Yeah.
The management fees, your typical management fee in real estate, if you wanted to come in and you didn't want to manage yourself, you're going to
Yeah.
pay a management company 10%.
10%,
10%.
which
Okay.
may be worth it, right?
It,
You know?
it could be.
But you are going to have to manage the manager.
Right.
So my wife and I, we've had rental property, and that's what we learned was, and we had a management company. Like, we tried to manage it ourselves, and then we were like, okay, we really don't like these calls, and so we're going to get a rental manager. But then we had to manage the manager,
Right.
right?
Yeah, nobody's going to love your places more than you love them.
Yeah, right.
Oh,
And what you-
okay.
and what
That's a
you-
good. That's a good segue.
And what you don't know from that manager is what's he really doing. So yeah, okay,
Yeah.
hey, Doc, the toilet's out. It's going to cost you $500.
Right?
Oh, really? But what did it cost the manager? $200.
Mm.
So what did he
Yeah.
make a spread plus the management fee? You never know. You know, there's just always backdoor deals that can go
Right.
down
Right.
if there's a middleman.
It's like once you fix a toilet and you're like, I could have done that for $200. Yeah.
I mean, it could be anything, even an AC. Like we've got, we have our preferred vendors now, but you'd get bids for like 10, 12, 15, 18,000 and you find the one guy that has a company and knows how to do it and he'll do it for $5,000. And you're just like, huh, wow, there's that big of a margin in between. Like, holy shit.
Yeah.
So we really been getting fucked these whole 10 years or whatever.
Yeah. Well, and the evolution of things, Sean and I used to try to go out and be hands-on and do a lot of the stuff ourselves. But
Sure.
once you get to a certain point, you realize that your time is better spent making a deal, right?
Yeah.
So the young people that we mentor, they're like, why don't you do anything yourself? We do very little ourselves anymore. We pay somebody to do everything.
Interesting.
Okay. And the way I explain it to them is like, my time going to a property and fixing something is $20 an hour, $25 an hour. My time making a deal is $10,000 an hour.
Yeah.
Right? So in the big scheme of things, do you want to make $25 an hour? Or do you want to make $10,000 an hour? I know my answer. What's your answer, Doc?
I think I'm going to
Yeah,
side with
that's-
your answer.
That's tough.
Yeah, that's
You
not
know?
tough.
Yeah.
It's not tough at all. It's
That's-
an easy answer.
But see, these are trials and tribulations that come with experience. It's not, you're not going to learn
Right.
this right off the bat. So like
Sure.
a young cat just reading the books and studying the knowledge, he doesn't know all that yet. right?
Yeah.
So
And there's nothing wrong with doing it yourself. In certain situations, starting off, you have to. You have 1 or 2 units, you have to do it yourself.
Yeah.
Right? Because financially, it doesn't make sense. But once you get to a certain point and you get an economy of scale where it makes sense, then you start to pull back. You focus more on the business aspect.
Yep.
And let the maintenance people do the maintenance people's job.
Man.
Okay, so that's a segue. What you said earlier is a segue into something we should probably broach about young people getting into something. Is you gave me a good lecture on it the other day, Matt. Emotional and non-emotional purchases. Granted, if you buy a duplex and you live in one side of it and rent out the other side, you're probably going to have an emotional attachment to that. So how would you encourage people to detach from emotions while purchasing?
And that's another reason why we don't sell anything,
Yeah.
because real estate's a very emotional business.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Believe it or not, it
Yeah.
really is.
Any business is emotional, in my opinion. It's tied to your personal well-being. So
Buyers, especially first-time buyers, are dumb. Okay, we're trying to.
Yeah.
We're going to try to sell a house that was 100 years old that we fully rehabbed. We do really nice work. Our stuff is really awesome. Again, we very rarely sell, but a first-time buyer is going to have a home inspection done, right?
Yeah.
This inspector is going to come out and he's going to
Just
rip this
nitpick
thing
the
apart.
shit out of it.
And
Yeah.
the first time home buyer, the corner of the foundation might have a what they call a corner pop,
Yeah.
right?
every foundation in this area has
Every
that.
foundation has a corner pop. Well, the first time home buyer doesn't understand that. They just know that their inspector said that there's a corner pop.
That they fucked
right?
up.
Yeah.
the house is going to
Yeah.
collapse.
I need you
Yeah.
to take
Yeah, yeah.
10,000 off the price, please.
Yeah, and they want you to fix the corner pop.
Yeah.
Nah, we're not going to do that today.
So you don't want to have to deal with that stuff.
Yeah,
The
it's
nitpicky.
very emotional.
Yeah.
Back to your question again.
Have y'all ever sold
how
a
do you-
property though?
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. We flip and we still flip every now and then. It just depends
Yeah.
what's going on.
If you're buying for investment purposes or to, service the debt type thing, how do you detach from making an emotional responsive purchase?
It's like what Matt says. It's all a math equation.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like we don't get out of bed if we can crunch the numbers in our head now. We're quick with it. If it's 10%, it's like why even bother going? Like
Yeah.
they're asking X. There's no way they're going to meet us at Y. So if it's like 30, 40%, then you got our interest. We might show up.
Yeah.
It
So-
just depends.
So how many properties do you have to call yourself a, big wig?
Man, I mean, we're small time compared to these other guys, man. We
How many properties do y'all have?
have to refer to my notes.
Okay. I got you.
I think we have 72 doors right now.
Wow.
That's
Last-
impressive.
That-
I was
that
in
is-
building and they showed
72?
72.
But some units have like 2 doors and 3
well,
doors.
no, that's a door. A door is a door.
Door's a
so
unit.
Yeah, door's a door.
Door's a unit.
72
Okay.
households in.
Yeah.
So how long have y'all been working together?
Since 2017.
Okay, so it's
Yeah.
literally since well, you met in 2015, but
Yeah.
you hit the
Yeah.
ground running business wise with each
Yeah.
other. Yeah.
But then over time, over the course of 30 years, like you have to think about this in terms of that time scale. Over the course of 30 years, you've really paid off the buying price to get into this building or get into this business. I
Well, it
mean.
depends because even in that amount of time, you might have already paid for it multiple times. It just depends.
Really?
Because I mean, we do it all the time. We pull money out to buy other assets and
Yeah.
you cash out refi, you have a new balance on your mortgage. And
Yeah, we'll get into those a little bit, some of those details in a little bit, but let's go back to Chance's question about emotion, because it's really important.
It's a big driving factor sometimes.
It's really important, especially, younger folks come into a little bit of money, say that they've lived in a certain area their entire life, and they see something that's shiny, right? It means something to them, but there's not an economic plan for that, right? There's not going to be a
Right.
return on that investment for a decade.
Yeah.
So you're a doctor, right? They call you doc.
Yeah.
You're a doctor of what?
I mean, people.
Of people? Okay.
Yeah.
Right. I wasn't sure. I mean, you hang around
Yeah.
this guy.
He is a medical doctor.
He's a real medical
he's
doctor.
He's a real
Okay.
motherfucking doctor.
So in your practice, you have certain tools, right?
Yeah.
And you wouldn't take your tools and lock them in a closet where you didn't have access to them and still try to practice, would you?
No.
Okay. So as an investor, what you're not going to do is you're not going to take your emotions, okay, and put them in a position where you're going to take your tools, which is your capital. When you're an investor, your tool, okay, your primary
Yeah.
tool is your capital. You're not going to take your capital and lock it in a closet and go on down the road and continue to try to be an investor.
Right.
If you do, you're going to fail. So you can't make these emotional decisions, because a lot of times you make an emotional decision, you're going to lock your capital up, and it's not going to be liquid anymore, and you can't move forward.
Wow.
It's stuck in that closet.
Yeah. Yeah. And so one way to maybe rephrase that.
So is
And-
Doc.
And we love him no matter what.
I heard he came out of the closet.
No, not yet.
Not yet? Oh.
He's kind of like
yeah.
comes out for a little bit and then goes back in.
It's man, I can't-
groundhog.
I lost
Groundhog
my
Day.
thought. Thanks to
There's
you.
this one scene in a 2001 movie called Out Cold. It's a funny snowboarding movie. And the one bartender who's friends with everybody, they're in the scene, and he's like, just want you guys to know something. And they're like, you're gay? And he's like, no, I'm adopted. And he's like, but if I was gay, is that okay? And they're like, yeah, it'd be kind of weird if you weren't. We don't.
Ouch.
No,
what
I
was
don't
your
even
last
know
thought?
what my idea was, Yeah, like I lost it. It's gone.
Thank you. You're welcome.
Yeah,
Hey.
we're talking about emotions and capital.
yeah, your liquid, you're
Tools.
basically your capital, your cash, your
Right.
liquid assets being available to you and not locking
Okay.
them away, because
Does
Matt is clearly speaking hypothetically about somebody he has absolutely no clue about.
Right.
Sitting
Right.
at this table.
okay, do emotions keep you from taking on risk?
oh yeah,
So
Yes,
so
they
so
fucking can.
so it causes you to misjudge the amount of risk that you actually have.
oh, even analysis paralysis.
Oh,
Paralysis.
yeah.
Over
yeah.
I went
It's-
on a date with her once.
Was that a porn? It sounds like a porn. name.
Okay.
It was.
So how do you fail at this business?
It's the podcast name, that's for
It's
sure.
like-
Oh, that is a good podcast.
people do fail at this business. How do they
Yes.
fail besides the whole, emotions thing? So they get bad tenants, they have a bad run on things, it's like
Yeah, they just can't service the debt.
They're
They get foreclosed
over-leveraged.
on.
over leveraged.
House burns down. Don't know.
Right.
Didn't have the right insurance in place.
No, a true catastrophic failure is just being over leveraged.
Mhm.
Okay.
So-
Gotcha. So if you're young, you go a little low and slow. You don't buy 10 properties.
Well, look, there's
And don't chase the shiny, flashy ones.
Mhm.
Oh wow.
Find the ones that need a little love, maybe.
Oh yeah, no, lots of love. I mean, our
That's what you
business
want.
model from the
Smellier the
beginning-
better.
Yeah,
Mm.
Yeah.
No, you walk into a property and it smells like cat shit. Okay, that's what money smells like.
Oh.
Okay,
Oh, I
All
like
right.
that.
The-
That's
the-
good.
I'm marking down that.
Yeah.
The worse it smells, the better. Okay.
Wow.
So our business model has been buying cash. This is our business model, right? There's
Yeah.
there's other ways to do it, and if you guys want to talk about that, we'll be happy to talk about that. But we buy in cash, we rehab in cash, okay? Then we rent stabilize it, and we'll do that with 5 or 6 houses. And then once we get them rent stabilized,
Uh-huh.
we take that portfolio to the bank and we get our money back. Okay, if we bought right, so just to hypothetically say we had 5 houses, okay, and we ended up with $1 million in those 5 houses.
Yeah.
Okay, 200 grand a piece. That includes purchase, okay, full rehab, and then we start to cash flow them. Okay, we get them rent stabilized. We go to the bank. If we bought right and the market's still good, these things appraise out. They appraise out at 1.8 million.
Wow.
But we made 800 grand. But here's what we do: we take a mortgage.
Yep.
Okay, 1.5 million. We only got $1 million in it. So what happened,
You've
John?
made
What happened?
We
You've
gen-
bankrolled.
we generated money out of thin air.
Yeah.
$500,000 worth.
Yeah.
Yeah, we made $500,000. Now here's a beautiful thing: that $500,000 that we made.
It's not going to be paid by you.
It's
Well,
one, it's not going to be paid
yeah,
by us. Two,
and-
we're not going to pay taxes on either. You know why?
Right. Why?
Because it's debt.
Yeah.
It's debt. But now
Valid.
all of a
You
sudden,
don't pay taxes on debt. You actually you actually earn on
Carson
on
Sands
debt.
just kicked the door in.
Mhm.
That's our CPA.
so
Yeah.
it's debt. So then what we do is we take that big nest of money and we
Right.
go out and we do the exact same thing again. But this time we don't do it with 5 houses. We do it with 7 houses.
Wow.
But let's get back to the young folks. Let's talk about Sean. Let's talk about a balanced portfolio. What does a balanced portfolio look like?
You have to have, so in Matt's scenario with the 500K that we pulled out cash, you
Yeah.
have to be able to generate more than what you're getting taxed at, which is the interest rate in which we refinanced at. So 3.5, I don't know, 4%, 5%. So
Yeah.
you're paying something on this 500K, right?
Yep.
500, it's still getting washed by the mortgage that your renters are paying you, but you still got to generate some additional returns on it, or else it's going to be, you're losing every month basically. So you take the money and you try to find other opportunity to generate, like I said, 15 or more % with that same money, and you rinse and repeat, rinse and repeat.
Yep.
But you can't have all your eggs in one basket. Otherwise you pay the price. Like we had a bunch of friends during COVID that there was the eviction moratorium,
Yeah.
and all these people decided that they weren't going to pay rent. And then
Mhm.
ultimately, who still has to come up with the mortgage
Yeah.
payment every month?
It's the
right?
guys like you.
So why do the renters get
Right.
to forego the payment, but the guy who owes the bank the money,
Doesn't.
who's housing the people,
doesn't.
has to pay the mortgage still, right? The bank,
Right.
he still has to pay the landlord,
You don't get a moratorium on that.
right?
Yeah.
So who's
So you got to like catch ass.
well?
during COVID.
That's where you try to balance your portfolio out. So I'd say we're about 60% subsidized rents at
Yeah.
the moment in our portfolio because HUD's not going anywhere. That's a big branch of the government. I don't know who's in charge of it now. It was Ben Carson. No idea.
I don't know.
But you got to have it to stabilize things because we've had people go underwater during
Yeah.
COVID.
Yeah.
Nobody paid their rent. Nobody paid their rents. You couldn't even evict them. So what were you going to do? You got to set the place on fire.
Was that stressful?
Luckily for us, we pivoted right before COVID,
Yeah.
and the majority of our portfolio was subsidized, and we still
Mhm.
continued on. We didn't
Wow.
really have anybody that didn't want to pay rents. We had one guy, but we got him on something else.
Well, if you have a good tenant, we were ended up in this situation, and she ended up unemployed, and we had a good tenant, and I guess you got to balance out that if you have a good tenant and you want to keep them for another year or two, then we gave her a couple months. We were happy to.
Yeah.
It was like we want you here. So what do we do to work?
So you work with her.
Yeah, obviously you don't want them taking advantage of that, but she got 2 months rent free and stuck around for another year or two, I believe.
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah.
But if you got a shitty tenant already, then
Yeah, it's give or take. I mean, it's all circumstantial and situational. If we've had a tenant with us now, we've seen her have 0 kids to like 8. And we've moved her from one small house to a big house where she can house all these kids.
Wow.
But it's situational. I mean, she is subsidized, but she has all these kids and can't have a job because she's got to watch these kids. They're all in different ages, and so her portion of her rent was like $50 a month. Okay,
Yeah.
the government paid the rest, which was, I don't know, call it $1,800. So, do we kick her out for not paying her $50 portion because she's trying to support these 8 kids, or not? It's
Yeah, I gotcha.
$50, but $50 times 7 years, it becomes a little chunk of change.
So do y'all handle the subsidy, or does the subsidy just happen?
We handle it. We got to have like hand-to-hand
Mm.
conversations with these folks.
Wow.
We're pretty close with As a matter of fact, we were
Please explain how you have hand-to-hand conversations.
I mean,
I need this.
So where do you get that set of skills?
So we were fortunate to meet a lady who was embedded with the city, and she kind of pointed us to the right direction with all the other subsidies in town.
Yeah.
And last year, not to toot our own horn, but Matt and I were awarded Landlords of the Year from
Nice.
Tarrant County Homeless Coalition.
Wow.
Yeah, we had no idea.
I mean, Tarrant, that's kind of a,
Wait a minute. A bunch
were-
of homeless people
I know.
awarded you Landlord of the Year?
you were awarded Landlord of the Year
we got
from
3-day-old
Tarrant County
pizza.
Homeless.
How are they homeless if
Coalition.
you're giving them a home?
That's great.
So Tarrant County Homeless Coalition is the governing body. They're the ones that receives all the grants and funds and push it out to all the other subsidies in town. So they're the governing body. So they push it out to VASH, which is the Veterans Association.
He just said vag.
Bash.
Okay. Turning you on over there.
You know where Doc's mind is tonight.
Oh, man.
Hand conversations and VASH,
Yeah.
baby. But yeah, no, it's an interesting group. They're the head honchos in town. So they can be a little difficult to work with in the
Because it's a
subsidy.
regulatory
Well,
body.
So they want to talk about affordability and things of that nature,
Yeah.
and how there's a lack of affordability and how there's a lack of homes for the homeless and things of that nature. But they want to make the process smoother, but they're very difficult to get a hold of at times.
And you're dealing with bureaucrats.
Yeah, you're dealing with government
Yeah.
employees.
Yeah, right.
Not-
And they're closed on Thursdays, and they're not open on they close at 12 o'clock on Tuesday.
Yeah.
And it's like, when do you guys working? And I'm in the field. I can't return calls. We're still waiting for a fucking inspector.
Don't you have an Obama phone?
Right.
Yeah. You can answer your call in the field, man. Come on.
So it's just, you got to take it with a grain of salt. You got to be able to navigate the bureaucracy as best
Yeah.
you can and not get frustrated, which it's real easy to become frustrated. I've often joke with Matt. I'm like, I'm going up there, dude. I'm going up there.
Yeah.
Pissing me off. 2 weeks.
Yeah, but you
Dodging
wouldn't be
my
able.
calls.
There's no there, and you wouldn't be able to actually talk to the person.
Yeah, it's interesting.
Yeah, because there's no person.
It's just an
yeah,
AI.
right. Yep.
Yeah,
just
it's just a governmental body,
Okay.
right?
Yeah, it's interesting how it all pans out. Like,
Is the homeless situation getting worse in
Oh, yeah.
Fort Worth?
Yeah,
and
it's getting pretty
the
bad in
greater Fort
town.
Worth area.
Mm,
You think
Yeah.
it's a homeless problem or is it a drug epidemic?
I think it's a homeless problem.
I think it's an economic issue.
They go hand in hand, really.
Yeah,
Oh, yeah,
it's
they
like
sure
the
do.
economy at scale.
Yeah.
Like is.
I want to know
is
what percentage though
harsh.
that you think is like truly homeless or what percentage is
We see it all the time.
what percentage is drug induced homelessness?
I mean, the economy at scale is
self-inflicted.
suffering. It's a bad economy.
I don't know,
right
man.
now.
I see. Well, I mean, it's not as bad here, but you look at places like Philadelphia, San Francisco, and it seems like it's a drug-induced homeless epidemic, especially with what is it? Trank. It's fentanyl and horse tranquilizer, something like that.
You
These
just
people
freeze in place.
Yeah, they're literally zombies, and they can't get off of
I
it.
had one of those last night. It was fabulous.
Like you had some trank.
Little trank.
Did you sleep good? Did you sleep standing up?
I don't remember.
Did he say trank or trans? I couldn't-
Oh man.
But my wife woke up with a smile on her face.
So they put in a little Viagra in that trank. Then
No, but it's tough times for a lot of people.
We've seen and worked with a lot of battered women.
Yeah.
In these shelters that we house some out of. And we usually get the call at 2 a.m. My ex-boyfriend's here beating down the door. I'm like, well,
Call
what the
cops.
fuck do you want me to do about it?
Yeah.
You don't want me
Yeah.
to come there. Trust me. Call the cops.
Yeah.
And, it's very circumstantial also, but it is a lot of drugs too, for
Right.
sure.
So how many hours a week do y'all put in?
It depends on what's going on in the portfolio. Like right now, we're kind of stabilized. We're just waiting for things to boil over.
Sean
Okay.
puts 24 hours a day, 7 days a weekend. This guy will send me a fucking reel or a funny thing on Instagram at like 4 a.m. I'm like, do you fucking sleep ever?
No, to
I mean,
answer your
You
question, I
got
think
there's a little hustle to this,
like
right?
maybe right
Yeah.
now, maybe 4 hours a week.
Okay.
That's not bad.
Yeah, no, it's not a lot right now, but
Our portfolio is very stabilized at the moment.
Yeah.
Everything's rented.
Yeah.
This month, as a matter of October, was one of our
Okay, but how about when you were hustling?
Oh, it's 24-hour thing. You're looking at emails looking at deals,
Yeah.
going to houses, going in attics, coming down, crunching numbers, dealing with tenants. It can be overbearing for most. I
Yeah.
mean, it's your own business. So
But you got to think bigger picture.
you get what
too.
you give, basically,
Yeah.
you know? So
Yeah.
you got to give what you want. So
I think that's how you have to think about it. Like, it's your own business. You're not working for anybody. I guess you're working for your tenants.
Well, you're going to get out what you put
You're
in.
working for yourself
Yeah.
mostly.
You're going to get out what you put in. So you got to decide what you want out. And honestly, when the rate started going up, again, earlier I said it doesn't matter what the rate is, right? It really
Yeah.
doesn't. The problem that we're having right now is the sellers and the deals that are available don't lend themselves to being a successful deal with the
Okay.
rates as high as they are, right? So I don't care what the rate is. If I can buy it at a number that makes sense on the backside, right? That the
Yeah.
market's going to support the rents and we're still going to cash flow and meet our requirements, we'll buy. But those deals are so few and far between and there's so much competition for right now. What we decided to do is we worked really hard for the last several years putting all this together. So let's just rent stabilize everything, focus on what we got and actually see what's going on, because we were spending so much time and money on rehab. We have all this money coming in, but we couldn't really see it. We couldn't really feel it,
Yeah.
because there's a constant turn. I think last year we spent almost $200,000 at Lowe's,
Wow.
just at Lowe's,
Yeah.
and then we have labor costs, and that's just one hardware store,
Right. Right.
So we spend $1 million on material and labor in a year, and you don't know what you have. So we haven't 18 months, Sean, we've bought 2 houses.
Mhm.
So
Last-
y'all
more than
really kind of slowed the growth a
well,
little bit.
we bought a bunch in Alito.
Yeah.
Bought like 5.
Full circle back to what we were really started this with the affordability of single family living. So on one hand, you have up to 33% of regulatory reasoning for the home prices. On the other hand, you have giant hedge funds, BlackRock, Vanguard, those guys coming in.
Yeah.
Rents are up.
How do you? Oh God, you're moving everything again, Doc.
Oh shit.
Oh, you fuck it all up all the time.
Okay.
Um,
Hey, will you hand me that ZZ Top?
oh yeah, the Trace Hombres.
Yeah.
I'd be glad to. ZZ Top
Little
from Balcones.
Yep.
So how do you regulate out the hedge fund guys without making it harder and more cost prohibitive?
I don't think you
for the
do
single
regulate
family
them
guys?
out. Like I think they're big enough that they have their hand in the policy.
That's really the truth.
Well,
but
they've got
is-
specific buy criteria, so
Yeah.
just work around their buy criteria.
So you're either in like tiny apartments or McMansions, because everything in between they seem to buy, right?
Yeah, it just depends. Or older built
Yeah.
structures.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Stuff before 1980.
Pretty much. Yeah, most of our stuff's.
But
Not
is there a way in a realistic universe where lobbyists don't destroy everything that is good? Is there a way to fix that and regulate those guys out?
Well, the market will move them out eventually. Okay,
Okay.
they're after a return for their
Mhm.
for their investors, for where they
Mhm.
get their funds. Those people who invest with them expect a certain return, right? So
Right.
the hedge funds and the institutional money, when they went into this, they saw the future. They saw what was coming. So they went in and they bought these communities. Eventually, when the market changes and there's somewhere else that they can take their money and put it and get a safe,
Yeah.
reliable return, they'll do it. Okay, so they'll slow down buying in the single family market. Okay,
Gotcha.
and they'll move somewhere else. Another big hot area right now is industrial warehousing. Okay,
Mm-hmm. So
huge, smoking hot.
what do they call
Yeah.
that? Tilt wall fabrication? Yeah, just these huge
Yeah.
Amazon type warehouses.
Yeah,
Yeah.
That's smoking hot right now.
Mhm.
What's on the decline? Office space. Okay,
Yeah.
a lot of lessons were learned during COVID, right?
Yeah.
a lot of
People can work just as efficiently from home.
American Airlines spent nearly $1 billion building a campus in Dallas, and they opened it up. And what happened right after they opened it?
COVID.
COVID came and they
Yeah.
shut it down.
Battery
Wow.
just went dead.
Yeah. Keep going. It'll come back. There it is.
went. Nope,
Nope.
it's done.
You think it's done?
No,
It'll
I
come
have
back on.
You'll have to go reset it probably.
Yeah, I'll just have to unfuck it. God damn this thing. This is what happens when you do Southern engineering and
Not plugged in?
Yeah.
No, it gets
It's
hot.
hot.
And it quits.
What?
GoPro gets hot.
Really?
Yep.
Go for it.
After too long of
No, but
going.
you're right. They learned during COVID that people didn't have to actually come to a location to learn.
Yeah, or work
Right.
or do any of it. Yeah.
Yeah.
You don't have to be there. Technology is advanced to the point where, people can be highly mobile. And I think some of the smaller towns, especially in Texas, have benefited from that.
Oh, I think so.
Little areas
Absolutely.
like, Decatur,
Decatur.
Paradise,
Yeah.
Mineral Wells. There's these smaller towns that people are migrating to because now they can live there
Mhm.
and actually earn a living wage.
I have patients who don't have to go into work. They moved out from the city because they don't have to actually go into work, or they have to go into work very minimally.
Once a week or
Once a
something.
week. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So, good for them, but
So for
It's-
quality of life for them, their quality of life is increased,
yeah.
X number of fold.
Yeah.
Because they don't have to be tied to that office building. So office space is suffering.
Yeah, did you see Biden's new plan? He's pumping $1 billion into the economy into commercials to convert office space into residential.
Residential,
Mhm.
i.e.
Yeah.
for probably illegals that have moved to New York or not been moved.
I mean,
bused
why
to
do
New
you
York
always
City.
go there? Like, what? Yeah, I mean, could
Because
Biden have a good
it's-
plan?
No.
No.
No, there's no good plans that come from that administration because
I
it's
gotcha.
true. There's a lot of truth to it. They
Yeah.
didn't they displace veterans to move in illegal, undocumented citizens? Didn't that really happen?
it wouldn't surprise me with this administration.
Yeah.
Yeah, I forgot where it happened. I was listening to some World
pretty
War
sure,
II vet
like,
talk about it.
DC and New York City. I mean, huge leftist.
They're paying big money.
regulated cities.
New York City is paying big money to house Ukrainian war refugees right now.
Oh, so that's why they don't have
Wow.
room for the southern border undocumented citizens.
Their
That's-
per diem is like $200 a day or something. That's something
the,
ridiculous.
the term sanctuary city.
I wish
seemed
I
to-
got $200 a day.
The term
know?
sanctuary city seemed to drop off pretty quick, didn't it? Once they started busing these people to these.
I'm a fucking doctor, and I go to work, and I'm like, I hope I got $5 to pay for my lunch. That's like, it just doesn't seem right.
I'm not buying it. I'm not buying it.
Now
Not
you-
buying it.
What do you drive again? Say it one more time.
I mean, it's a Tulsa.
Oh, that's right.
Tulsa.
Yeah, yeah.
Oh.
Hard times. Yeah, you're
Yeah.
living some hard times.
Did he say a Tesla?
Mhm.
Yeah,
Tulsa.
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 Damn.
Yeah.
Hard times he's having over
I
there.
gotta go, guys.
Used.
Mm.
Used
I
Tulsa.
gotta go.
You can't be at the same table.
I
with
can't
this
be at the
guy.
same table. I'm-
Oh, man.
Diesel or nothing.
Yeah. Yeah,
If you
I
ain't
gotcha.
rolling coal, then you're sucking dick.
I know, right? Boy,
Well,
that's hard to like.
And he also
sell
has a
yourself
Vespa,
on.
so
A Vespa?
I do have
yeah.
Vespa.
And before that,
Does
he
it run
had-
on ethanol?
No.
No.
And before that, he had a Prius. So,
Ooh,
I mean,
damn.
you wonder why
Remember
we
that-
question.
Yeah, you
his
remember that
sexual
time I told you
orientation?
sometimes he comes out, but then he goes back
Dude.
in.
Yeah.
He comes back
Dude,
out.
and I am not leftist. I'm just saying.
Wow.
I don't know how you settle yourself or work that equation.
Rare.
Right?
You're
I mean,
a-
he simply bought the Tesla because he supports Elon and free speech and
Sure,
capitalism.
sure.
That's-
Obviously.
Yes,
Uh-huh.
that's why. Yeah, absolutely. Let's bump it up a notch. Let's move out of real estate investing and talk about a little bit about
Politics.
diversifying, because I don't want to. I
Oh,
don't want
okay.
to. That too.
Okay.
We can talk about
Yeah,
that
okay.
too. But diversifying, I don't want to get it into too much detail because they're going to start charging us by the hour. So
Yeah, I got you.
Yeah.
Well,
Brick-
Chance, I want to leave your listeners with some little nuggets before we move on too far from
Okay.
real estate
Okay,
stuff.
okay.
So,
I like this.
again, real estate investing, it's all about the math. Okay. Take the emotion out of it. Have a well balanced portfolio. Okay. And it's hard to balance one from the beginning, but it's something you do over time. Our portfolio is balanced on multiple different accesses. Okay. So we have cash flow heavy assets. Okay. We have assets that don't appreciate and probably won't appreciate, but they cash flow like crazy. Like
Okay.
we're talking a $30,000 investment that returns $1,500 positive a month.
Yeah.
Okay.
But
So
in 5 years, it's still going to be $30,000.
it's still going to be $30,000, right?
Yeah.
But what we've done is we've gotten 100% of our cash investment back. Okay. In 14 to 16 months.
Okay. Wow.
Amazing,
Yeah.
right? great cash, and everybody's like, well, what kind of crap does that?
It's an infinite return.
So if you're not spending it, you're growing it.
Mobile homes. Okay.
Mm.
There's a small community in Aledo. The owner of the property, it's owned by this corporation called Yes Communities. They're the largest privately owned corporation of mobile home pad sites. They have 86,000 mobile home pad sites in 17 different states.
Dadgum.
They allow us to rent the homes in there. We have to pay a pad site lease. We don't own the land, but we can go into this neighborhood and we can buy a house for between $15,000 and $30,000.
Yeah.
Okay. The section, because it's in Aledo, the Section 8 rent over there is $2,700 a month for a 3-bedroom. Okay.
Wow.
So you run the math out there. So that's your cash flow asset, right? So we have heavy cash flow assets. Then we have assets that appreciate, okay, over time. The cash flow is a lot tighter, okay, a whole lot tighter. They're not cash flowing like crazy, but they do cash flow. They service the debt, okay, and they're appreciating. So we're getting equity buy down and appreciation on those properties. And then we have a portion of our portfolio that we hold in cash. And I'm not talking about cash, but properties that have no debt.
Right.
Okay. They're 100% free and clear. And again, if you really want to get into real estate investing and you want to make a long-term run at it, 2008 was a disaster for a lot of folks because leverage was easy. They got in there, they got over leveraged, prices came down. They weren't always smart. They got these adjustable rate mortgages. When they reset, these guys got taken out.
Yeah.
Our portfolio overall, I think we're leveraged about 53% or something like that. Sean, does that sound right?
Yeah, we're
Wow.
So about 53% leverage.
And by that, you mean like the amount per month that you actually have to pay.
What I mean by that is the value of our total portfolio versus our
Debt.
our debt.
Yeah.
So we're leveraged a little over 50%. Okay.
But that's a big number if you're talking about like 72 doors.
Yeah. No, it's a big number.
Right.
And we started off with I think we both funded the company. We both had a couple things on our own.
Yeah.
And I chose to work with Sean. I think Sean chose to work with me because we have strengths and weaknesses that complement each other, right? And some people will say, why would you bring in a partner like that?
Oh,
and,
I'm with you.
And Sean said something earlier about the manager. What'd you say about the management? Nobody cares about your property like you do. Right. Okay. Same thing with the business.
Yeah.
Nobody
It's
cares.
true.
Nobody cares about a business like a business owner, right?
Right.
So having Sean as 50% business partner in all of our companies, we have multiple holding companies. I wouldn't do it. I wouldn't do it any other way. And it works for us. We respect each other, right? We have this great relationship, and we're able to build and move forward. And sometimes he has ideas that I'm like out of his mind, and sometimes I have ideas. He's like, "You're a fucking idiot."
Yeah.
yeah. Sometimes it's like, are you on that trank again?
But you have
I can say it like you almost can't describe it, but
you have checks and balances.
I don't know
for each
how
other.
people do it without a partner.
There's no such thing as a self-made millionaire. It really
No.
isn't.
No.
There's all about the team behind you.
No, it's like having a business partner is a dialectic process.
Mhm.
Like it can only grow you, or it could
Or
like
vice
vary
versa.
you.
Right.
Yeah.
As long as your business partner is willing to put in their part, and
Even
effort.
that is growth.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, no, we complement each other well. So there's, he'll go out of town. I cover things. I go out of town. He covers things. He's got his strengths in dealing with people.
Yeah.
I'm not. I have low tolerance for bullshit, so I'm really quick to tell people to fuck off. He's got more patience.
I see him over here. He's like, yeah, maybe that's true. Yes.
Yeah. Nobody's allowed to call Matt anymore.
Oh man.
Yeah. We've had some good ones.
Are those all the nuggets you had?
That's most of them for now. Listeners out there, if you're interested in this and you're listening to the radio and you hear a commercial about learn how to make money in real estate with none of your own money,
It's
Don't-
not.
They're not.
It's not real.
They're only trying to grow their own
don't
wealth,
yeah,
not yours.
don't do it. we can give you details on that. But if you're really interested in it, reach out to the host of the show. They can hook you up with us, and we'll be happy to talk to you.
Wow.
Okay, cool.
Wow.
I have a couple of bullet points to wrap it up with. One we can just quickly touch on, brick and mortar versus stocks and diversifying. I mean, where do you think people should position themselves if once they do start accumulating wealth and having success, how to keep that carrying on, perpetuate that?
I'm a anti-stock market type cat.
Okay.
Just because you have no control over the
It
asset.
terrifies me.
Mm-hmm. You have no control. What are you
Yeah.
going to call the CEO of GE and be like, hey, man, you think you could perform a little better because I'm getting like 6% here? What's
Yeah.
going on now?
Yeah.
As opposed to, real estate, you can really iron out the numbers and understand what the worst case is and what the best case is. And you have full control of that.
Right.
Call me a control freak, I guess.
Well, you can put the work in.
Right.
Right. And so you can take a place and say, well, fuck, I'm going to actually have to spend 10 hours a week to better this place, put in the 10 hours and build a margin there. Quite literally build a margin.
Your success is contingent on your effort that you're putting in your time.
Right.
Oh, yeah.
But it's not that way with stocks. You're putting it into a machine and hope for the best.
That's right.
Chance, I think to answer your question, it's a, you got to weigh your risk, what you want, and then you got to look at your lifestyle. The business that Sean and I are in is, it can be demanding. It's got its ups and downs.
Yeah.
We're at the point now where we're not putting a whole lot of time into it, but it can be very time consuming. But you can mitigate your risk in real estate, right? So what are some ways that you can mitigate your risk? Well, we do it with insurance.
Yeah.
Mitigate our risk with insurance. You can kind of do that in the stock market if you really know what you're doing. We're not buying or we're not paying big commissions for anybody to manage our money. We're doing it ourselves. There are different assets of stocks and REITs if you're really interested in real estate, and you want to have some of the tax benefit of real estate. You can look at some REITs. I'm not going to name any specifically.
Those would be real estate investment trusts.
Correct. A real estate investment trust is called a REIT. It's a publicly traded asset. Okay. There's REITs that deal with basically just data warehouses. There's REITs that deal with shopping malls. There's REITs for anything and everything, right? So you can do your homework on that. REITs historically pay a very high dividend, and the reason they do that is because there's tax advantage to the REIT operator, right?
Gotcha.
If they pay a certain percentage of the total revenue out as a dividend payment, they don't pay any taxes on a portion that they get to keep. Also with REITs, you get the depreciation pass forward and so on. So you're going to have a lower tax base. You're going to have a higher income, lower tax base on your dividends on your REITs. So if you're really interested in that, another type of real estate investment that we didn't touch on is syndications. So there's companies out there and people out there that'll go find a big apartment complex, say 500 unit apartment complex. 500 unit apartment complex, depending on where you're buying, is anywhere between 200 million and $1 billion.
Wow.
Depending on where it's at. So there's a big spread there. But what you'll do is you'll deposit your money with them. They're going to use your money and other investors' money and leverage to go buy a distressed property like this. They rehab it. This is how most of these deals work. They rehab it, rent stabilize it. You get a preferential payment. They're going to say, okay, we're going to give you 10% on your money, but you're probably not going to start getting payments till the same cash flow. So it could take 8 months, a year.
Yeah.
Then what they'll do is generally these syndications, they'll get it rent stabilized and they go to the bank and they refinance it. Well, usually when they refinance it, they do like Sean and I did. They pull more out than they had in it. So what happens is generally you'll get your money back when they refinance it, but you still own a small percentage of this property. So you're going to get monthly dividend checks, right, for the cash flow off that property. And then eventually one day they sell it.
Yeah.
So you get 2 big checks. You get the check when they refinance it,
And then whenever they sell.
and then whenever they sell it,
And then monthly cash
and
flow.
in between you get the monthly cash flow. So
Okay.
that's a really good hands-off investment.
Mhm.
Okay, in real estate, and again, you're going to get the depreciation. You're going to get all the other benefits that come along with investing in real estate with one of those syndications.
Okay, I gotcha. How do you actually find a what'd you say, syndication?
Google.
Oh wow.
Or knowing the
Yeah,
right
you go to
people.
like real estate meetups and things, and
Yeah.
people talk and shake hands.
Yeah, no, you
I
can
You'll
gotcha.
find somebody.
you can
pretty
search for
quick.
these things.
Yeah, Google. You can find them.
So it'd be a good activity just to start going to these things,
Yeah.
these meetups.
It never
Yeah.
hurts.
just to listen in.
Gain some knowledge.
Right.
You may not have to spend a dime yet. Just gain some knowledge.
Yeah,
and
that's what I
some
think.
foresight. And
Yeah.
Or
So-
even tell yourself like, I'm gonna go to these things for like 6 months
Sure.
Well,
yeah.
before I make a decision.
Well, for those people that are really interested in learning this stuff, there's these associations called RIAs.
Yeah.
Real estate investment association.
Okay.
And you can Google these things. They're basically everywhere.
Yeah.
But they have like scheduled meetings, and you can go to these meetings, and it's a good way to meet contractors and sellers and people that
That's
are
cool.
just in the business.
yeah, in the industry.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think there's a big one coming up in Hyenas Comedy Club
Oh, that's a great place too.
in Fort Worth. I
Yeah.
think it's in
It's a
December.
cool comedy club.
That's called a RIA,
Yeah.
real estate investment.
But those
Association.
syndications, it's a place to park money because I mean you could get your money back in a year to 5 years. It just depends. So
Right.
and you're hands off completely. It's not really tangible unless you're in the same state that they're buying this property and you can go look at it and stuff. But
Good eyes on it. Yeah.
yeah, it is a way to invest. It's like if you ever meet somebody and he's like, "Oh, I own 5,000 units," and you're like, "Really? But do you really?" And then you learn that he's part of this syndication with like 400
He
other
owns-
people. And
Yeah,
just
he owns
inflating-
2% of 5,000.
yeah, it's a
units.
fractional margin.
What did they say
yeah.
about Trump? He's just inflating his assets. Well, what fucking male on the planet, red-blooded American male on the planet, hasn't inflated their
Yeah.
assets?
See, but I think it's a theme. Like, okay, so you can put your money in something and hustle for it.
Mhm.
Like you can actually work for it. You
Reap what you
stand a
sow.
chance of getting a larger return, or you can put your money in something that you don't hustle for.
Right.
They hustle for you, and
Or
you
they
stand
fail
a
and-
chance of getting some return, but
Yeah.
you're not going to, possibly get the return that you could get
Right.
if you were hustling for yourself.
Yeah, we've been fortunate enough to navigate the different types of investments and learn what we can return. We can return infinite returns.
Yeah.
And why would we give anybody, $500,000 to return 10%
Wow, that's a great place to be.
when we can return infinitely?
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
And again, it goes to what Matt says. It's a lifestyle choice. How much do you really want to work at it? Do you want to be hands on? Do you want to be hands off? It's
You
just-
okay with the risk?
Yeah.
Yeah. There's many variables to the decision making process.
So okay, so here's a tough question. How much capital does a young person need to start? A 22-year-old.
To start in this business, you can literally start with $0. You really could.
Seriously.
You can.
Yeah.
It's
It's
easier
going to
to-
be risky. There's going to be some hustle, but you can start with zero.
You got to be boots on the ground, hitting the street,
Yeah.
knocking on
Yeah.
doors.
Yeah,
Wanna
no,
sell your house?
you could start wholesaling with $100. Okay, literally $100.
So what do you mean by that? Wholesaling.
So
Wholesaling, you're the middleman. So let's say you're
Yeah.
a homeowner and I know you and you want to sell your house. And I'm like, you know what? I'll buy your house for $100,000.
Yeah.
But your neighbor, I know your neighbor and he wants your house. He'll pay whatever I give him the number to be.
Yeah.
I'll go to Chance. I'm like, hey man, I got your neighbor's house. I was thinking about buying it myself, but do you want it for 150? And you're like, 150 is a pretty good price, man. I'll take it. So this guy just literally pushes paper and assigns
Wow.
Interesting.
the purchase contract to Chance, and then he walks away with a check for 50 large.
Yeah.
You can actually do that.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
can.
That's a great way to lead us into this last topic that I want to wrap everything up on, and that's investment scams. Because inevitably, at any given minute, any given day, there is always somebody out there that is willing to take your money and run and never see them again.
I worry about the monthly meetup
Mhm.
There's always those Nigerian princes, man.
Yeah.
Well, no, there's local yokels too. As Matt knows about this. There was a crew that came into town offering huge gains and all kinds of opportunities to put in a livestock processing facility
Here in Decatur.
here in Decatur. And they made it sound good, but there was a few
I
red
bet.
flags. I caught a few. My wife caught a few. And I asked
Ah.
Matt, I'm like, is this shit legal? Can they do this? He goes, oh yeah, it's absolutely legal to
Wow.
what is the saying?
Just-
A fool is easily parted with his money, and it's 100% legal for somebody to come in and rip you the fuck off because you're naive and stupid. So this place came in promising X amount of return per. I think it was like 80. If you invested $100,000 within a year and a half, you would have $80,000 a year cash flow.
Oh,
And
wow.
that sounds great.
That's a big one.
Sounds great. And then you would have so many slots available to you to bring in your animals for processing. And then you essentially skip the middleman
Mm.
for distributing your own beef.
Hmm.
Okay. So you're selling your own beef at no cost other than
Yeah.
a minimal processing fee. Two, you're a member of this association. So you're cash flowing $80,000 a year on a $100,000 investment.
It's a no-brainer.
Yeah. Right.
Sign me
It's
up.
like, oh, okay. So,
So I had to ask Matt,
so
he's
how
like,
do you identify that as a
scam? Okay, I'm going to tell you. So I asked Matt, and he's like,
Sounds funny.
fuck
Said,
no,
send me all the documents.
that's some smelly stuff.
I want to see
Yeah.
it.
So I sent them whatever they sent me, and we sat down with this lady and started asking her questions. And one of the questions was, we have land already purchased out east of town, but we decided that this place is now, there's so many people that are interested that they didn't close on the place because now there's so many people interested that they're going to need a bigger location. It was 20 acres originally. Now they need a bigger location to put in this larger facility. Okay, so that's one. Two, they have so many people interested and spots are filling up quick. So hurry up and get involved to get on the bandwagon while you can. But if you know anybody, please send them my way. So that's two red flags. Like you're selling out slots quick, but you still need referrals. Yeah. Okay, that's odd. Three was the numbers situation. It wasn't realistic with cows. They were saying they were going to bring in cattle from the panhandle and then also handle all the processing for the county and all the producers here. I can't really explain
It's a big
that.
workload.
I can't really explain that to people that aren't in the business, but that was fishy. Did I skip three? I don't remember. Whatever. The other part was when we asked for credentialing and history and former pro formas and business models, they didn't have those.
Crickets.
They didn't.
Wow.
They didn't even so much as have a rough computer generated conceptual drawing of this facility. Okay, so the land's not there. The cattle numbers are skewed heavily to someplace in the panhandle.
Yeah.
And then
So did
the cash flow or the promise of return is very, very inflated.
It's
Okay.
a huge return. 80 on 100.
Yeah. That's an 80% return.
Who
that's-
wouldn't fucking do
yeah,
it,
who
dude?
wouldn't
Sign
jump
me
on
up. I'm not even a cattle.
So were these people actively trying to screw people, or
Oh, we're getting
did
there.
they
So-
just have an inflated?
No, my interpretation is yes, they were trying to give people the shaft, collect their money. So this facility was supposed to cost like
Wow.
$2.8 million to build on top of buying the land. So you have, I think, up to 70 investors given $100,000 a piece because you have to build, you got to buy, and then you've got to have the operating cost for processing the cows, processing the cattle, hiring the labor, et cetera, et cetera. And then when I asked for portfolios and business history and this and that, I said, give me an example. Okay, you don't have a rendering. You don't have a not even, an artist concept of what this place is.
Not even a napkin? What the hell, man?
You have no county permits filed to even break ground, which you need for commercial projects.
So it was looking sketch.
Well, especially
Very
in a
sketchy.
year's time, you're not going to get 80 if they don't even have permits or
No,
land.
yeah,
permits.
just- oh yeah, and she's like, oh, if you invest now it wasn't even a year's time. It was 7 months. You're going to have cash flow, mailbox money. Okay.
I would imagine in that business, isn't there a lot of environmental requirements?
Oh, there would
permits
be.
required.
I mean, realistically, you're looking at 3 to 4 years
I
construction.
mean, you got
time.
the USDA.
So
Yeah,
Yeah.
we asked her, I said, okay, you have this processing facility that is supposedly installed and ready and operating in this place in Dimmitt in the Panhandle. I said, your guy that did this, she said, well, we were going to build a building there, but then we decided we would refurbish an old tomato production.
Yeah.
Where they process tomatoes that have grown up there and then distribute them out to the state. Okay, that's sketch. So, all right, where are your blueprints, your schematics? Because if you're processing livestock and you've got to be an FDA, or is it you're a USDA inspected facility, where are your blueprints, your schematics, everything that's going to be involved in constructing this? And she's like, oh, no, this guy, he's a whiz. He's so smart. He comes in and he's like, this should go there, and this room over here, that needs to be the room for this right here, and this room over here. I'm like, okay, this is extremely sketchy at this point. So I asked her, I said, okay, well, what is his history with constructing these? She goes, oh, he comes from building golf courses in Florida. And suddenly he has an altruistic vision that
Cattle
he wants to quit.
processing.
He wants to quit golf courses, get into cattle processing because he feels there's a lack, which there is. There's a lack of, there's the big three processors and they kind of control the game. But suddenly this guy has an epiphany to leave the golf course construction and go into cattle processing facilities construction to fill a niche.
Yeah, it's so your bullshit detector.
Oh,
has
it's in the red, like
blowing exactly. and so it's like in this business, you have to actually learn how to pay attention to your bullshit.
Yes,
detector.
you really should pay attention to your instincts. You really should seek advice and counsel from other people because their bullshit meters are.
And so maybe you get a 50-50 partner too, just so you can co-detect.
Oh, co-detect.
He's got one. It's called his wife.
Yeah.
And she was, her bullshit meter was off before mine. But I was like, I'm intrigued.
That sounds good, man. 80K in a year. That's pretty good.
Incredible. I
I'm
mean,
sold.
who wouldn't, right? But your sentiment towards me, Matt, was like, no, this shit happens every day. And it's not Nigerians. It's not ISIS.
Yeah.
It's not somebody in a foreign country. It's American people ripping off American people.
Right. That's where emotions come in again with investing. So it sounds too good to be true, right?
It probably is.
It probably is. But what happens is you want to believe that it's true.
Yeah.
You're
Well, yeah, I'm emotionally involved in the cattle industry.
I want to make this money. This is it. This is the lick that's going to get me where I want to be. And you get emotionally tied to that idea, and then you make a bad decision.
Yeah.
So,
Okay. So you don't go to school to learn this. No.
These are
this business, right?
you have to make, you got to make dumb decisions. Unfortunately,
It's like, right? It's like to learn what y'all do, you can't go to school and learn that, right?
you can, but you wouldn't want to. So
Okay.
here's the deal: you can go to college. You can spend $200,000 on a fancy degree from some college, and learn all the business
Here,
basics.
mark this one because I think this is going to be a clip.
Why are you looking at me?
Well, who marks this?
I'm marking it right here
Do
in
you
my
mark it?
notepad. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Please
So,
continue.
Look, you
okay.
can spend all kinds of money on fancy degrees and go to school, come out with a degree, and go on and do great things, right? Or you can get out there, you can hustle it. So I paid for my education, right? You paid for your education when you go to school. I paid for my education in this. I've made bad deals. Okay. Well, one of the biggest deals I did early on when I really kind of left the government work and started doing this more in a full-time manner. I got tied up with a wholesale group, and I ate all their bullshit. You know, I got hook, line, and sinker.
Sure.
Scammers.
And they weren't necessarily scammers, but they operated with low integrity and
Questionable ethics.
questionable ethics. And by the time it was all said and done, I was into this project for a year and $350,000, and I broke even.
Wow.
Okay,
So that was your tuition.
I paid for my education, right?
Yeah.
But I got lucky because I broke even. Right.
Real lucky.
A lot of people aren't lucky,
Yeah.
and they lose.
And
So
we actually have to.
It happens.
We step in and help these people out because they'll contact us and say, "Hey, we got burned, and we're in a pinch. We need you to buy our place ASAP to save us from being foreclosed on."
Yeah.
It happened to us a lot.
They try to appeal to you emotionally or something.
Well, they need it. I mean, they're just in over their head. They're upside down. They're first time flippers. They don't know how to fix the plumbing. You know,
Okay, this is
all
tough.
sorts of.
Do you send
issues.
your kid to college?
It depends.
You know, that's a question. I've got 3 kids. I've got a 9-year-old, 11-year-old, and a 12-year-old, all boys. And my wife went to college. I didn't go. It wasn't my cup of tea. My wife was on the 5-year program from Texas A&M.
Sure.
She had to do what she says is a victory lap.
Yep, I'm with you.
She's pushing the kids a little more towards college. Okay?
Schooling.
I'm not.
Okay.
I'm if they want to go, that's great. I think the world has changed. You know, this current administration and Bernie Sanders and all these other folks, they want free college for everybody. But let me ask you guys sitting around this table, basic stuff. If I told you you could go to the bank and get as much money as you wanted anytime you wanted, what's the value of money?
Valid.
It has no value. That's the same thing with free college for everybody. Okay.
Yeah.
The value in an education, okay, and a college degree is the scarcity of that education and that college degree. If everybody has it, there is no value.
That's looking at college education economically.
Right.
Right.
Well, that's looking at money, the state of the being of America, and the economy as a whole.
No, I think I like your point, right? Seeing college education as a economically scarce thing.
Okay.
And then whenever it's no longer scarce, then it's just
it has no value.
It's lost its commodity.
So I think with the advancements in technology that we have now, you know, a lot of college 40 years ago was different, right?
Yeah.
Because you had to go to the library. You had to have access to the
books.
You
had to actually go to class.
You had to have access to the books. You had to have access to the stuff to learn it. You don't have to have that anymore.
YouTube.
Right?
YouTube University.
It's true.
So we have unprecedented access to knowledge. Okay. Basically anywhere at any time.
Yep.
I think the most ambitious people in the future are going to do the best. Okay. So back to the college thing, my kids, they're either going to go in the military, they're going to go to college, or they're going to go to some sort of trade school. Okay.
Okay. So they're going to go learn something.
They're going to learn something. A tradesman, I believe in the future, a tradesman. Okay. Something that can't be replaced by AI. Okay.
Yep.
An electrician, a plumber,
AC dude,
HVAC guy.
Roofers. Yeah.
Right. So
roofers.
Any of those.
Yeah, don't do that.
Hardcore.
Yeah, no. Any of those skilled individuals with a little bit of business background or thought are going to do better than lawyers and doctors and so on and so forth, right?
Yeah.
So that's kind of where I'm at. My kids, I love them to death. Me personally, I'm pushing them more towards the trades.
Yeah.
There was a fucking great South Park episode last week that came out, and it was a whole paradigm shift of the white collar world and the blue collar world. Like all the tradespeople became
white collar
because AI replaced everything else. So they ended up bankrolling and driving Benzes.
Oh my God.
And everybody's like, there's picket lines of people like, hey man, will you come plumb my toilet? Will you finish my electricity? Like there's, that you have the day laborers that used to wait at Home Depot. You come pick them up. Well, the day laborers are now all the white collar lawyers and attorneys that are sitting there looking for a plumber to come through or an electrician. Hey man, I'll give you $500 to wire my light in.
No,
you're right though. You're right. There's a paradigm shift happening.
Well, think about the schools nowadays. Like I grew up and my last year of high school was the last year that they were offering automotive class and shop class and metalworking and woodworking. And so like from my point on, I graduated in 2008. I don't think there's any of that going on in schools anymore that I know of.
Yeah. That's I think it's a valid point.
They're pushing for they want you to go to school to be.
There was this doctor and his fridge broke. And so he called the guy to come out and fix it. And so
broke
he went off to work. I don't know, it just broke. And went off to work, and
freezer
the guy
was
came out. No, it was actually the fridge.
Air hole.
Yeah, it was a fridge, and he came out and fixed it. And then he got home, and the bill was on the door. Like the doc wasn't even there whenever the guy fixed the fridge. Bill was on the door, and so he looked at it and he called him up. And he was like, what the fuck?
It's a new
It's
fridge.
10 grand. And he's like, yeah, it's like, I used to be a doctor too, but I decided to go in the fridges. Right? There's something to be said for like trades.
Yeah.
I don't know if y'all
you can
caught
make a
that,
killing.
but the doc he's talking about
Oh yeah, no, we
is
got it.
himself.
Knowledge, the knowledge is money.
Yeah.
So-
So you still tell your kids to learn a skill.
Yeah, you got to learn something.
Yeah.
Well, and let's go back to the state of the education system right now. So
Oh.
my kids went to this elementary school in one of the most prestigious neighborhoods in Fort Worth. Okay, it's
Yeah.
the neighborhood is called Monticello. It's in 76107 zip code, and the school they went to was called North Highmount, and it's a cute little school. The principal, when we started going there, I was in the National Guard with the principal, so I knew him. I believed in him.
Yeah.
Good, good ethics background. I worked with the guy in the military, right? Every morning, what they would do is they'd bring 3 students into the principal's office every single morning and let those 3 students help with the morning announcements.
Mhm.
So by the end of the school year, every student in the school had an opportunity to go into the office
Help
in the
with the
morning,
announcements.
help with it. And you guys
Yeah.
remember being in kindergarten and first grade,
Oh,
right?
it's a big deal.
Like,
Yeah.
yeah. The morning announcements were magical,
It was a huge
right?
honor. Yeah.
There's a little person in this box and they're talking to me.
Mhm.
It's amazing. Well, at the end, they had a little script that they would read, and the principal would ask them. Well, one of the questions that the principal would ask at the end of this process to each student is, when you graduate, what college do you want to go to, and what problem are you going to solve?
Mhm.
So they're doing this pre-K through 5th. So they're indoctrinating these kids in pre-K that you have to go to college.
Yeah.
Okay. And I personally have a big problem with that.
I feel you.
I think that I'm probably more successful than a lot of people that went to college.
Yeah.
They're indoctrinating our kids into this thought pattern that you have to do good in school so you can get into a good college. Why do you want to get
Right.
into a good college? So you have this prestige so you can get a good
Job.
a good job,
Mhm.
right?
Yeah.
And you want to get a good job. Why do you want a good job? So you can
So
be
you can be happy.
you can be a high earner,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah. Yeah.
So you're telling me in pre-K for the rest of my life, my ability to earn income is going to be tied to how many hours in the day I can work.
Mm.
That's a bad
Mm.
message.
Yeah.
I think that's a valid point, though.
And not only that is
Yeah.
the other message is you can't feel like you're ever really going to contribute or be a problem solver unless you get a college degree.
Right.
Like you're not worthy until you've crossed that threshold.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's not a good message.
But in reality, you don't actually have to go anywhere. You don't have to go to trade school. You don't have to go to college.
no, you don't.
You can put your boot on the ground and figure out how to earn a living.
You can flip burgers for 15 an hour and save money for 5 years. or
Yeah, but-
whatever. I mean, I'm saying not
you don't-
condoning that, but you
Yeah,
can.
right.
It's a
But maybe
method.
you do that for 2 years, but you can, like, there's hope minus institutional education.
Even like
Right.
union workers, man, if you get in with like as an apprentice, you can
Yeah.
work your way up. You make 50, 60, 70 bucks an hour, or even more.
Mhm.
It
Yeah,
just depends.
but
what
you don't
trade.
even have to do that. You can actually just make money from the market, from the real estate market.
Yeah, you could also do that.
Yeah. And it's not that easy. Like, you have to figure it out.
Yeah, you have to figure it out.
Right.
It's a grind. It's a
Ebbs and
process.
flows, just like anything else.
Man, I really
Yeah,
feel like
yeah.
Matt should run for public office or
I think so,
something.
too.
He'd be a great elected official.
Just don't run against JD Clark.
No, we like that guy. Is he coming on?
At some point, yes.
We gotta get his ass. He keeps saying he is, so it's time to
Oh, man.
put up or shut up, Mr.
Come
Clark.
on, dude.
Judge Clark.
Yeah.
I think my point with the investment scams, I don't know if y'all have anything to contribute as far as personal tales of trying to be ripped off.
Look, if you guys out there, y'all go to these classes, they have these free seminars and stuff. Here's what's going to happen. You're going to sit there for 3 or 4 hours. It's going to
Yeah.
sound great. It's going to sound awesome. And then they're going to say, okay, this weekend we're having this special deal, and it's
100 tickets only.
yeah, it's $3,500. But
Yeah.
you know what? If you sign up right now, we'll let you bring somebody for free.
Hmm.
And then if you go to that
That's the scam.
$3,500 seminar, what happens is they go into a little bit more depth of what they covered in the free shit over those 2 days. At the end of that 2 days, they tried to sell you a mentoring package between $20,000 and $40,000, right?
People pay it.
That's what happens.
People
So
really pay it.
you guys don't fall for that. If it's too good to sound, if it sounds too good to be true, it is.
It is. Yeah.
Okay.
You know,
And don't ever buy into timeshares. Just
Yeah.
don't do it.
And
Just say no to timeshares.
you know, whatever you want to do, whatever, if it's real estate, if it's stocks, whatever it is, figure out what a good, solid, reasonable average return is
Right.
and in that area and shoot for that. You know,
Okay.
if there's an anomaly and somebody's promising you 80% return in a year,
Mm.
man,
and it's completely legal for them to rip you off. I think
But it's okay to walk into a place, like to commit to a fixer upper, to walk into the place, smell the cat shit, and be like,
money.
okay, I'm
Yeah.
gonna fix this shit up. Okay.
Well, you make your money on the buys, so you don't want to overpay for it.
Okay. So if you smell cat shit, you shouldn't overpay for it.
Don't overpay for cat shit.
Right. But maybe if you do, like you're not gonna overpay for it, it's okay to commit to the project. Right? To commit
You have to
the
commit.
place.
You have to.
you have to do.
and to say, I'm gonna fix this shit up.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, you,
And to start there.
Yeah,
That's
you got-
okay too. You
gotta
don't
start
have to go to
somewhere.
a meeting.
you get what you give, baby.
That's
it.
I love it.
That's it.
I think my message just was be careful too. Like align yourself with
Yeah.
people that are trustworthy in knowledge, and don't be afraid to ask questions. Don't be afraid to look stupid, because there's snake oil salesmen at every juncture.
Right.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Hey.
And then make use of your friends, right?
Yeah, make use. I mean, why have friends if you can't use them?
Yeah, you don't know
Right.
what you don't know, so you ask.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that's it.
exactly.
Bottom line.
Ask stupid questions.
Ask the questions. Don't be
Like, what do you
scared.
think
And it-
about this, Heath?
Yeah,
Yeah.
And eventually, as my wife's dad, the late great David Goward, put it, we all have to pay a stupid tax at some point. We're all gonna
Oh,
we're all gonna make a dumb
Dude,
decision
yeah.
or screw up. Just hope it's not too big of a
Period.
stupid tax.
The
but
idiot tax.
Right.
the stupid tax exists, and you're gonna run into it at some point. But again, don't ask. I mean, don't be afraid to ask questions. I think, and align yourself with people that know or have been through it. And
Yeah, keep calm, invest in
Fuck
real
yeah.
estate.
boom, I feel like that could be on a shirt. I think we should put it on a shirt. Whiskey Bros around the table. On
You
the
got a
back.
card on you?
Is that the name of our podcast?
That or analysis paralysis?
I like that one.
We'll figure it
Okay.
out. We'll hash it out after we wrap this up. But I'm done talking.
Yeah, it's a good episode.
Any
Yeah, I
final
think we-
points?
I think we covered everything we wanted to.
Don't let your tenants cook chicken at 7 a.m.
Is that how the fire happened?
one of them.
Yeah, the day this guy was getting served a writ of possession by the constable that morning, apparently he was cooking French fries and hot dogs at 6
Yeah.
a.m. And
sounds like a
somehow
wholesome-
the propane tank exploded.
Sounds like a wholesome
Oh,
breakfast. That's what I
yeah.
would want at 6 a.m.
But here's what's interesting about that story, Sean. Remember, they were supposed to be out by 6 p.m. that day.
Right.
And at
6
6
a.m.
a.m. it caught on fire. Well, it burned, and fire department showed up, and we went in with the fire department. Nothing was packed. Not a single thing was packed, but their 85-inch flat screen TV, somehow or another, was the
Interesting.
only thing that was removed from their house.
Wow.
Oh, and their renter's insurance had just clicked over, like had just been added like 2 days prior.
Yeah.
I think if I read right, they walked with like 80 on the deal.
Yeah,
Wow.
they burned our house down and walked away with 80 grand, and we got nothing.
Shit
Yeah.
sandwich.
Wait a minute. So if you rent
No, don't get any ideas down
and
there.
burn the house down, you get money.
Calling to up my insurance.
Well, hey,
premium tomorrow.
Up it.
here's a tip for you. What I learned about arson through all this.
Yeah.
It's if you take responsibility for it, it's not arson.
It was an
Mm,
accident.
accident.
Yeah.
And accidents are what we have
Wow.
insurance for.
So you can
I'm sensing a business opportunity.
Mm.
you can accidentally drop a pan of burning grease on the floor and burn the place down, as long as it's an accident.
Yeah.
So
And still capitalize on renter's insurance.
And you get to take your TVs out before?
Yeah, yeah.
yeah.
Well, there's smart TVs, man. They know where to get up and leave the house whenever it's burning down.
They booted it.
Hey, don't answer your phone tonight.
Wait till Monday night so I can up the premium a little bit.
Yeah.
If we're going to benefit from this, let's benefit from this.
Well, we're putting it on.
and we're going to knock this half of the next
yeah,
part
we're
of the.
going to cut this off.
We're going to cut this part
podcast.
off.
Yeah, my Roomba was humping my television, and so like
Mhm.
now I got mobile televisions.
You know, those
Yeah.
Roombas, those iRobots, they need loving too. Somebody's
Yeah.
got to blow those robots.
It's true.
This will be the smart TV.
Yep.
And on that note,
Yep.
good way to end it.
I like that tequila. It was good.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Ghost.
good.
It's good. Feels good.
Have to get you some
Ghost.
Goes.
I'll find it.
Well, thanks, guys.
Yeah. Thanks for having us.
It's a
You're
great convo. Lots of knowledge. Hopefully, our 14 or 15 followers learned something.
Yeah.
I feel
No,
like
I
there's
think
so-
we're up to like 19 now.
Cool.
Yeah, we're knocking on 20's door. I can't wait.
I just
Yeah.
feel like there's so much more we could have covered because man, it's just it's
Oh.
such an in-depth topic.
Yeah,
and
you're
Right.
just
It's
scratching.
going.
How long do you think we've been talking for?
Feels like an hour.
hour and a half.
2 hours and 19 minutes.
Wow.
Yeah. That's a good one.
That's crazy.
Yeah, it goes
Yeah.
by. Yeah,
Yeah.
it
I'm,
goes by.
I'm
Time
still-
do fly.
like 91 episodes in, I'm still kind of surprised by that.
You're inflating your assets, sir.
Wait till you have April on this thing. She'll fucking.
Oh yeah, we got to get her
Oh,
on here.
fuck.
She'll blow your mind on some stuff.
Almost said
Okay.
your wife, but y'all technically are not married yet.
We're life partners.
Y'all are
Okay.
shacking up.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Cabin.
I know.
like it.
I know tantric yoga is one thing.
Matt knows all about tantric yoga.
What she's into like chakras and what do you
Yeah,
call
Dude,
it?
let's get
Spirit?
her on.
She does it all. She does Kundalini yoga,
Kundalini.
Oh,
Okay,
which
man.
encompasses all of that stuff.
Okay.
It's pretty interesting.
Let's get her on.
interesting trade.
seriously.
I'm gonna have to get with you and find out like the right questions to ask because I have
No, I got him.
I don't know.
got him.
Okay, all
Yeah.
right. Well, it'll
Yeah,
be Doc
bring her.
and Nate.
She'll make you do
Bring her.
some stuff on the podcast too. She'll make
Doc,
you.
have you
Okay.
ever done white tantric yoga?
I mean, I've heard of it. Yeah.
I've done it a couple of times.
Really?
Doc is our
intense.
friend that you go on vacation with him, and you might wake up to go sit on the porch at 7 a.m. and have a nice cup of coffee, and he's out there stark naked doing yoga.
It's true.
That's good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Use a sheepskin.
Yeah. That's no, actually, I do
No, he's
yoga.
starting naked. He uses the foreskin.
Yeah.
I'm wondering what happened to the hot dogs.
Don't ask. Right. Oh man.
All right. Well, thanks everybody. It's been a great episode.
Yeah,
and
it was.
we'll see you on the next one.
Oh.
Good night.